Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to, I guess, a special Geek First episode.
It really is.
Not a number. It really is. Just because me and Dylan, we never get a cast. It's just Dylan and I.
Never, not once.
But yeah, I guess it's like just a good old review. Not a numbered episode, I guess technically.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's lots of. I think when fans look back, this podcast goes on for years and years. They're gonna look back and ask, what did we define as a numbered episode and what we didn't. I can't tell you.
Loose, yeah.
Sometimes it's like that's a numbered episode, and sometimes it's not.
And sometimes it's like if it's closer to Thursday or Friday, then like we're probably more internally inclined to want to consider it a weekly episode.
So this is a bonus. It's a point. It's episode 188.5.
It's a pre-E3. It's a bonus for getting you ready for E3.
Mm-hmm. I am the determined Travis Snail. That'll make sense later.
I get it. I'm the deviant Dylan Musk.
Ladies and gentlemen, we haven't guessed by our nicknames or the title of this podcast because, that's what titles are for. This is a review of Detroit. It's going to be, I think, a pretty loose review. Like, it's going to be a review, but we're going to also talk about quite a bit of our experiences with the game.
Exactly. I mean, a game that's so story-driven, but also is going to change person on person. Mm-hmm. It's kind of a little more tricky to review it and, really talk about the story. It's going to be interesting.
You know what's not tricky, though, is the content we have coming out later on this week. So we got a stacked week. So you have this right now. Thanks for listening to that. Tomorrow, if you're listening to this live or just later in the week, Geeks Creed is coming back. Apparently, they're going to be breaking down all the Assassin's Creed rumors heading into E3, which reminds me, E3, we are covering all the panels on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. We're going to do watch-alongs. We're going to do breakdowns. I venture to go back to the past and listen to a couple of ours from last year because you get the sense of, we get into the nitty-gritty details, but it's a lot of fun. And the watch.
And we always do compare to the previous years as well.
So we're going to be pumping out a lot of content. There's rumors that the Hunka Hunka guys will be back this week finally.
Really?
Just in time for E3. It's like they gotta take the
I don't know where you're going with this, so I can't help finish the sentence.
Steal the Thunder.
Steal the Thunder.
We got a good week coming out. What's Hunka Hunka's gonna do? They're gonna come out, throw a bunch of stuff out. Yeah, and like probably
make some fans hate us and not watch the rest of our E3 content.
And we're probably gonna get contacted by multiple lawyers, as always with the stuff they say. But you know who's not getting in contact by multiple lawyers? Us, because we have no reason to, because we're just doing a review for Detroit. Was that a good transition?
There was some good transition because there's like actually cops and stuff in this game.
But I let it go. I let it go. I had something great, and it flew by. It's gone.
It's gone. So Detroit,
yes.
Let's start with a little non-spoiler. Quickly, I don't know. What'd you think?
I love this game. It's everything I want and more. I was a little worried a week before because I pre-ordered, got the deluxe edition, and I was playing Heavy Rain again. Heavy Rain, which I had played a long time ago, and I played it with a friend because I didn't have a PS3, so I had lots of good nostalgia memories about it. Replayed it. It's pretty dated all the way around as far as controls and acting, and there's some spotty acting in this game too at times, but I was really worried. But up until that point, I love games like this. I've always said, I'm not a big online guy. I'm very single campaign based, and if you look at my top games, I always talk about Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. The reason I like that is because it's as simple as you're going to choose if you're going to be a Sith or you're going to be a Jedi, and the choices you make throughout the game will determine that. And I like that because it gives me a feeling like I'm really controlling instead of no matter what happens, this cutscene's going to end with me jumping off this train or doing this. Sure. So I enjoyed all the choices and everything like that. Well, the idea of it, and then once I got the game, I enjoyed that a lot. I love the themes it tackles. It is very heavy-handed and very on the nose, but I guess more a sense of I do like the themes they're tackling, even though they are look at this. But I also like the feeling of the world. I like the concept of androids and technology, because not only, obviously that's a big thing in our culture right now, but I love things like Blade Runner, like we talked about that last year. So anything that, or even Altered Carbon, huge fan of that. So I think maybe that's why too. And I like Heavy Rain as far as, I'm a big fan of serial killers, just the idea, not, the people. But, there's times where it's it was a little too cheesy for me to really get back into it. But I thought with the world, for the most part, it kept it realistic. I think there's a few jumps in logic at time, but it's also very heightened world. So they don't really make no bones about it, right? They kind of, this is the world you're in. I liked all the characters. For the most part, Connor I was not a fan of, but then also we'll talk about our spoilers as I'm doing a second playthrough, I'm enjoying Connor more. So that does show that the choices can really affect the game. I think the choices for the most part as far as what I was doing flow. There's a few big instances where it's like, oh, that kind of took me on a path I didn't want to go, but I think you kind of get that a lot. We even talked about the Fallout too, right? In our first review that we ever did for video games, where it's like, oh, you'll pick this path or you'll pick this dialogue tree, but it's like they'll say something that's like, that's not exactly what I thought, like hope or this word meant. So I really enjoyed it, and yeah, I know we'll probably talk about if it's like worth a full price of a video game. For me, it is because I enjoyed my first playthrough immensely, and I'll get into it in spoilers. But then the second playthrough, it feels like I've taken all these paths, and it feels like I'm playing a different game now, like completely different. And
really, okay,
that's what I'm enjoying, because I feel like, and now there's maybe I'll play it one more time, a little ways, because we'll talk about the beginning. The beginning is kind of a slog to get through.
Yeah,
but
some missions really you have no choice, so you're just watching the same thing again.
But yeah, I loved it, and it's probably up there with Horizon Zero Dawn as my favorite PS4 exclusive. Like I think I like them both for different reasons, but if I had to give one the edge, this would be it. Just because I like this type of game of the kind of choose your own adventure. I was a big fan of that even in Goosebumps. You had those books back in the days, and I always would choose the page route that would make me die right away. So it sucked, but I very enjoyed this game, and I'm excited to talk about it.
Yeah. So my backstory. Kind of similar to yours, to my whole life, yeah.
So my mom and dad.
No, similar in that Heavy Rain played it, or I really don't even think I played the game a whole lot, but I was with my cousin and we kind of played through the game together. So
you can watch these easily and not play. Like
exactly,
it's so enjoyable.
Yeah. Sometimes I tune into a Twitch stream every once in a while, check on Heavy Rain, but so yeah, I played through it and. Really, I loved it. I thought it was just such a unique game. It had a really good like atmosphere, and it seemed like really consistent in what it was going for. And the character choices, I just thought like that was so cool. How any of your characters can die. You don't really have all that many, and then the story will still adapt to that and move forward. And it's
a big game changer for the time too. Like there was obviously
because that was before all the Telltale games, right? So it kind of. I'm sure Heavy Rain is a big influence for a lot of those developers making the Telltale games. And then, so Detroit, I played through it about 1.5 times now, and then I have done just a few after my first playthrough, I redid some things kind of in the last maybe couple hours worth of the game just to see what some of those things would affect the ending.
For people, if you haven't bought the game, you every time you complete a mission, they give you a flow chart, so it shows you where you went and all the possible options. In the one you played through all the way, you can go back to certain checkpoints or chapters and play that out. So just for people if they haven't.
Yeah. So I redid a couple little things, but so far about 1.5 playthroughs really, and I'm liking it, and I think it's a good game. And once again, similar to Heavy Rain in that it the atmosphere of it, and that's a combination of the music and the color schemes, the art style, and the ominous moody situation of it all. Very consistent, very similar to Heavy Rain as well.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of comparisons, even your characters, you have 3 characters. One of them is protecting, / looking after a kid, which is, similar to the first, to Heavy Rain, and then one of them's a cop. So very, very similar to Heavy Rain. Obviously different, setting, completely different time era, really. And there's the things that I think that does really well within the world. I think there's some really good world building, and it's cool, you're watching, you just watch news broadcasts, and it kind of gives you the perspective of different people.
Or you can read magazines.
Read a lot of magazines. Yeah. I was kind of hoping there was would be more just being able to talk to random people on the streets.
Yeah,
and,
there's not much of that. Yeah.
Without spoilers, other couple areas, I was why can't I talk to more of these people? So it'd be nice if they split that up a bit more. But in terms of the gameplay and the story, I don't know. I think it is kind of short. It's it's less than 10 hours in my first playthrough, and I pretty much took as much time as I possibly could in every area, just looking around every corner, interacting with everything I could before accidentally going into a cutscene and moving forward. You know? So kind of short, and on my second playthrough, what I'm realizing is that a lot of choices you make are actually they don't matter.
I'm excited to get into that because so far, because I've had the reverse experience where now I played my first.
I think the Connor storyline's a big one for you, and that one I've already noticed a big change. But the other two, I've found I'm taking the polar opposite path in terms of what choices I'm making, and it's really not changing a whole lot. And so I'm a little disappointed in that, and it's too bad that I haven't fully finished the playthrough to see exactly what that would be like. Come to the end of the game, but I think discussing in between what your story was and mine could help get that. Once you what you said, sometimes you have 4 dialogue options, and you'll click one and it will say something completely different from what you expected.
Yeah.
Similar to that happened in Fallout 4. In Fallout 4, I mean, it didn't really matter because there wasn't really a whole lot of choice in that game.
No.
But in this game, it has a big impact on how
Happens to
characters
be
react to
Batman
you
as well.
and what happens in the story. So it's more unfortunate in this game when it happens.
Yeah.
Although I have to say it's not all that common. So like for the the majority of the time, it's gonna say something along the lines that like I'm okay with that. Like it doesn't go against what character I was trying to play.
I almost
that makes
wish
sense.
for these games that, especially there's sometimes like in the game where actually it's all the time when you're talking they give you a time bar right up when you have to decide what to say, and I think some of those, like if you're in a tense situation or you have to go quick, but some of those when like there's this base called Jericho, and I won't spoil too much, but you're just kind of, there's other androids there and you can just go around and talk to them, but even those are timed, and it's like I feel like I don't need to be timed on when I need to say these things, and I don't know if we'd ever get this point, it may be too much work, but if you could have like a version where you could go select all the choices and hit like right trigger and show like preview what you would actually say. Like, okay, if this is a determined, what does that actually mean?
That's something that it didn't take long for Fallout 4 modders to do that on the PC version, just so there was no ambiguity
but
there.
I wish we could get that in real video, not real video, I'm not saying, but I mean like day one product, like they've put that into the game, right?
I agree. I think that would have been,
comes up a lot in these games of like I said this and it took me on a different path, which I'll talk about spoilers.
In this game it becomes a bigger deal because the whole game is based around its story and your interactions with other characters.
Yeah.
So when like that's really your only control and you don't feel like you have that control, it's like, what do you got? Because really, if you look at this game in terms of like its gameplay, a lot of real-time action sequences, which I'm traditionally not a fan of. I think they're just...
Me either, but I liked them in this game
boring.
For some reason.
They're good enough, but I think the point I'm making is that like the gameplay depth doesn't really get all that deep.
Yeah.
And that's even like when you're walking around, like you just walk, like there's no other thing. Your character kind of slowly walks around.
You could have a
interact with some things. Yeah, sometimes a speed walk would be very nice.
I get it might break the realism of the world, like why is this person walking really fast, but it would help me, especially in those beginning chunks of the game when you're walking around, what are the old guys' houses, and I'm like...
Yeah. Well, that's my thing too, replaying the game. I don't know why you can't skip some cutscenes, right? Like, you should have the option, especially when there's some, like, levels. The levels are, I don't know, some of them are a lot longer than others, some of them are just, like, kind of quick little snippets, but some of them, like, you have absolutely no choice. Like, you're just kind of going through it, and that's fine story-wise.
Yeah.
But it would be nice if I could skip that, because what I'm finding my problem is, so I played through the entire game one time, I'm playing through it again, and I can't, like, choose to skip a chapter, because if I skip a chapter and skip forward, then it goes back to the choices I made in my first playthrough.
Yeah.
So now it doesn't matter, because I have to play through all of it again, and I don't know, it just seems weird, because I feel like they should know as developers that like some of these levels aren't really all that interesting to do a second time, especially if you're playing it right away again. So why not have the option to skip past this chapter with like your current world? I don't know.
Well, especially because when you go back to play the chapters, it'll ask you, do you want to play this chapter and save or not save? So if you save, it would like dictate your whole like
it would overwrite it.
Yeah, it overwrite it. But this thing, this is not anything in the game. I won't spoil. Let's just say in one story you can pick to drink this water, and one you can't. Let's say I drank the water, and then if I go back to replay it, I don't drink the water, and it saves that. But then the next chunk over, it still has the data from your first time when you drank the water.
Right.
And I thought when you could do that, it would, okay, you haven't drank the water now, this is a clean slate, or you're going on this path. And that's what I would really prefer, because playing, I did say it does have a lot of replayability, I agree, but the beginning of the game does not, because it's such a slog, and you have to literally start over from the beginning if you want a complete new story experience. And I'm finally about kind of roughly in the middle, so now I'm finally like, I'm doing new stuff and this is great, but the beginning, like you said, you can't skip anything, like anything, and it's really tough. Even if it was a first playthrough, I would understand, but that'd be nice to have a mode where, okay, you've beat the game, here's unlock, like you don't have to have this conversation, and especially, like you point out at the beginning, most of, I'd say, if there's like 6 missions, I'd say 4 out of those 6 are ones you're always going to get to the same path no matter what. You may piss one person off or be a little nicer here, but really it doesn't change the grand scheme of anything, those first missions. So it's just, those specifically I didn't need to replay. Like, also there's a big one we'll talk about in the spoilers, which I hate replaying, because it's just it's a crawl.
It's a real crawl. I think I might know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
But let's see what else. Spoiler free wise.
Love the score, actually.
Yeah, score really good. different characters, different areas kind of have different little themes.
Good
And
with the atmosphere.
I mean, you've played Heavy Rain recently. Is it similar music to Heavy Rain? Because I kind of felt like
It's
the
very
music
similar, and the tone's very similar because obviously in this
is
game,
very somber.
yeah, it's somber, and in Detroit it's raining a lot. Obviously, Heavy Rain, the killer
rain.
kills people in rain, but like I don't know if it's supposed to be. I'm not that big of a nerd. I haven't looked into it, but it almost feels like this could be in the same universe. There's probably some fan that like as you lose.
I was
like,
kind of thinking about that. I was wondering if like the developers kind of have that in their head,
like a kind of Black Mirror thing, right?
Yeah.
Where it's all connected. So I should look into that after. But it feels like as I just played Heavy Rain, it feels like this is a very similar world. So.
Yeah. So acting, voice acting, and like generally the mocap of it and stuff, I thought was really good, really
Far
well done.
better than Heavy Rain.
The eyes, the eyes are coming along really well in technology. So
no Tom Hardy yet, though.
No Tom Hardy.
What I will push back a little bit. The reason I enjoyed the QuickTime events a bit more because I felt lots of them were really action packed, and it was buttons here like really quickly, like back to back, like square this, move left, like where I'm a big fan of Batman Telltale. I really like those, and obviously your Batman City Fight Lock. Those sometimes are a bit too quick where it feels like no matter what I'm always going to hit this button, where there's obviously events where I can just breeze through and it's fine, but there's times where I do legitimately miss. Sometimes it doesn't happen or do anything, and sometimes it might be a result where you get hit or someone gets killed. But I really enjoyed them, and I'm not a big fan of them really, to be honest, in most games, especially, and that was one of my worries when we saw E3 with Spider-Man. Like, I know it's a lot of topic, but it's like I don't want too many of those in the game because it takes me out. Where
exactly,
this, it never took me out for some reason. It felt, I really enjoyed it, and especially because it's tough to talk about, but there's a set piece I think I got that you didn't that's very action heavy, and I felt the whole time it flowed really well because I'm shooting a lot of people, I'm having a punch this and that. There's two of them, and I thought it flowed really well. And lots of times, like the Batman ones, for example, where it flows all right, but there's times where it's like no matter what, I'm not gonna miss this punch or miss this kick because it's so slow, or it's slow kind of. Like, okay, it's back to back, like square. Like this, I thought challenged you a little bit, so I did enjoy that. So
they didn't take me out of it really for the first playthrough. I don't think there was any that I like messed up on. Like I didn't think any were really all that difficult. I mean, obviously I missed, like, you're always gonna miss something on your first playthrough.
Oh, yeah.
You can't do everything. But I don't know, playing through the game again, like they're not really as interesting to me. It's just like a gameplay thing, I don't know, I accept it for the sake of this telling a story, but
yeah,
I think that's where maybe I like the game a bit less than you, because I didn't like some of the story points, and I didn't like that I felt like I have no choice in certain scenarios. So when that's like also happening, like if the story was excellent and like flawless the whole way through, then I'm sure those wouldn't really be issues to me.
Well, it's tough for the story, like, and that's why when we get into the story, I feel like this game is tough because I don't know how you played, but for me, at some points, I was making choices and eventually got on a path. But it is hard in these type of games to have a narrative that's flawless, because if you make one move, it can kind of change a character, this and that.
Yeah.
So,
well, notoriously, video games are incredibly difficult to tell a really strong story, because there's just going to be so many plot holes everywhere, because one player might like start its quest, then go do something else, and come back like a year later. It's like, well, this story shouldn't still be going on. And obviously this is like a lot more cohesive and linear, and it's...
But I feel like it can also not be
that.
linear in the fact of you can completely contradict yourself over and over. As far as in a conversation, you could say 4 different things, and it makes the story all jumbled, or characters not react the way they should, and that's where it feels like there's certain things that I had with Connor and Hank that I was having lots of problems, which we'll talk about those characters in a second, where I was not really connecting with Hank at all, and there's times where I felt like I had done the right thing, and that's where that story just kind of drops, because me and Hank don't really get along, so that story doesn't mean anything. But now that I'm replaying, it's like, it means something because I'm making these consistent choices here and there. So yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, I think so. I guess my final non-spoiler would one thing quickly, actually, the menu with like that girl, and then the like intro sequence initializing, I thought that was amazingly creative. It's a little thing, but it adds so much, and I think it just shows that, like, why not get creative with the way you do a menu and the way you do the initializing sequence of a game, because it really just gets you immersed right away.
I felt like I was in that world.
Yeah, and like it was like, it has like an emotional impact, and it's a fucking menu.
Oh yeah.
So like,
and then
I give them mad props for that. That is like so well done.
Yeah,
so
it's
done.
not a huge spoiler, but there's stuff that she does, like she'll quiz you on
Yeah,
stuff.
she says some really. Yeah, I'm really excited to talk about that, because I think that was amazing.
No, that was a good touch, and that was a thing where I don't know what they do next. Obviously, he's done very different games each time, so I don't think you'll ever get a Detroit 2 or something like that. But this this made me want another game in this universe almost, you know, like in a different style. Not to have this exact sort of game, but I almost wanted like a Witcher GTA, like kind of like where the action would be not cutscenes or things like that. Where that's where I really enjoyed the world aspect of it. So yeah, I thought that was a good touch.
As for my recommendation, I had fun with it and I liked it, but I don't think I can recommend this game at full price. I really can't. I don't think obviously a game like this, the first playthrough is gonna be your best. Probably it's gonna the most interesting.
Yeah.
Just because you're gonna have to unless you come back like a year later and play it and you forget a lot of stuff.
Everything is unexpected.
Yeah. So, and for the most part, for me, like my first session with the game, which was probably like 4 hours long, I was loving every second of it. I was like, this is amazing. But then as I was getting through like the back half of the game, some things I wasn't liking as much, and then I haven't fully finished my second playthrough, but so far I'm finding it underwhelming how little has changed in a couple storylines. So I can't recommend this game at full price. I think if it drops, down to 40, 50, it's on sale sometime. Maybe PlayStation Plus, you can get it on discount or something.
Yeah.
$40, $50, more appropriate. But then again, it's hard because, whoever, you play through this game, maybe the story that you pick is like amazing and mine was just like a little lackluster because of the choices I made. So, yeah. But I think I'm ready to hop into spoilers.
Yeah, no, I would quickly, like I said, recommend it if you like these type of games. If you don't, you can still enjoy this game, but if you like games like Telltale, Heavy Rain, stuff like that, I think it is one of those top tier, and as far as this genre, as far as mechanics and the way it looks and everything like that. And yeah, for me, that's where tune into spoilers if you're interested. For me, I think it is worth it because I'm playing through it a second time and I'm having all these different experiences, and my story is taking a different route where I'm like, okay, I feel like I'm playing a second game again, so it'll be an interesting discussion. Spoilers now. So what do you want to start with as far as spoilers go?
Yeah, this is tricky. There's many places to go.
Because I guess like it's tough because I was first gonna do by character, but because you said something interesting of your choices not being affected as much as you feel it changed. Like for me, I'm trying to I'm gonna start with Kara because I feel like that's so far where I've seen the most choices change. So obviously it just starts with you're the android, you're the maid or whatever, housekeeper. And then my first playthrough, when it got to that point where you have to pick between sleep in a car, sleep in a hotel, sleep in that raggedy house, I went in the raggedy house. Where did you go?
I went there. I went pretty much everywhere on that block. My first playthrough. I went to the laundromat first, got some clothes.
I screwed it up. I was going there and he woke up.
Oh, really? Yeah.
I hit the wrong button.
You had to be like, I don't think there's a lot of room to mess up.
No.
It's for a lot of room for error in that one. So I went there first, and then I went over to the motel like quickly, and then I couldn't get in because I didn't have any money. Then I went over to the grocery store and I stole something from that guy. I didn't rob the register and get the money, but I
just did that today.
I stole a candy bar or something.
Yeah.
And then I went in I went to the house, and Ralph was there, the crazy guy. Ralph, so I was like, Alice was like, I don't like this. I'm like, okay, let's get out of here. And then I went and slept in the car. So I went to every possible spot, and I really liked that sequence of the game. And playing it again, I was like, okay, I want to see what's up with Ralph. So this time I'm gonna go there and just. I don't know what's gonna happen exactly. I don't know if he's gonna kill Alice or some shit.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna just go into the house with him and see what that's like.
And I think that's I'll give credit for the most part. Maybe I'll forget some cons when we bring up, but I feel like a lot of the side characters are memorable. Like Ralph, like my interactions with him and that whole. Because my first choice, I went into the house because I was getting to a motel, woke that guy up, so I went in the house with Ralph, and the whole time felt uneasy, and I really liked that. He seemed sympathetic as far as you understood why he felt this way. Humans are obviously hurt him in the past, but he still felt like he was a loose handle. So I went in the house my first playthrough, and then after it led me to this big chase and everything like that, like the Connor and Hank tracked me down. But then when I did my second playthrough, I went into the motel because I robbed the money with I did it two ways because I played a chapter and didn't save. I did it with a gun once, and then I got Alice to do a distraction.
Oh, where'd you get a gun from?
In Todd's bedroom. He has it in his.
You can take it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And that's how I
nice.
killed Todd. I shot him the first time.
Oh,
around.
nice. Okay.
Yeah, and then I threatened the gun register. And this is where the difference. So when my first playthrough, I went in the house, and that's where Hank and Connor tracked me down. There's a big chase scene and everything like that, and they're trying to find you. Where when I went in the motel, none of that happens. They just go in the room. Alice and is it Kara or Kara?
Kara.
Kara are gone.
Different characters pronounce it differently.
Yeah, it's Han sort of thing.
That whole dealio.
And so when I stayed in the motel, when the cops came, there was no chase scene, nothing like that, and they went completely off on their own. And then Hank and Connor went to go get a sandwich together.
Oh, okay.
So like for me, that's where it's like I had completely in my first playthrough and my second playthrough, I thought, oh, if this just leads to Hank and Connor chasing me again, it's kind of the exact same, but it led completely different routes as far as my interaction with the police. And then with my first playthrough, I had Connor chase them, and then he got
so I guess the difference for me is I stayed in the car and stayed in the house, and both of them just led to doing the chase across the highway, and it was the same thing. So my difference was the first playthrough I chased with Connor across the highway, and it didn't matter how close you get, he never catches up with them, they get away. I think because I don't think I missed anything. Maybe I missed one.
Die.
Well, you can, if you fuck up, but I think I don't think I messed up with either of those.
Oh, okay.
And I think they still just get away.
It's
possible that if you're like perfect with Connor, maybe I messed up once or something.
I don't think so. That would seem
because that's when your Connor died. And
my Connor died, and then I got spoiled on Alice and Kara dying in the car yesterday when I was looking at some Detroit reviews and whatnot, and I saw that they can get killed
on the highway there.
Yeah. I was like, oh shit, but.
I think they can die in a lot of places because they're the least impactful in the story.
That makes sense. Yeah, there's no really through line.
Because even I don't know if you did this, but in Todd's house, my second playthrough, when he's going up there to beat up Alice, I didn't do anything because I was curious what happens, and he kills Alice, and then their storyline just ends. I'm pretty sure it's possible that Kara comes back later in the story, but I played out a couple missions and it skipped all of her sequences. So I think that storyline just ends there.
Really?
So I was like, okay, well, I'm resetting this because I don't want that to happen.
No. That's cool. But yeah, so for me, that's where with Kara, and I haven't had much differences with Marcus yet, and then also talk about Connor after. But with Kara and Alice, I've been completely playing a different story now as far as with those two. So my second playthrough, I haven't got that far, so I'll still focus on my first one. So then after I escaped from them, I went into the creepy guy house where, I think we have no choice. You always end up there. I don't know if you have a choice.
In where, sir?
The creepy guy house that has like all the...
it's Zlatko, yeah.
It's a lot, yeah. I think no matter what, you're going to end up there. And no matter what, I imagine you're going to end up being experimented on.
I tried my hardest to not let that happen on my second playthrough, and there was just no options. So.
And that there is a couple times where, and I can't remember when, but there's one time in Connor where they're talking about the identity of something or some information that somebody had, or it was something like that where it felt like a choice was coming, and then he was just like, oh, okay, and then he walked off. And the same thing too with Connor, and I know I'm jumping a little over, but in the first playthrough with, or just in his first mission with Hank when you're the detective, and you find the deviant in the attic, I thought you would be able to have a choice to choose to let that one go or to...
The first house.
Yeah, the first house.
When you find him in the attic, and then you can choose to not to just not tell that he's there, right?
No.
I'm pretty sure that is an option. Well,
really?
He says that. I don't know if you have an option as a player to not get him, but I don't know why you wouldn't.
The deviant says like, oh, but then there's no... speech after. There's no, at least I didn't see, there was no buttons that came up that would say, oh, because he'd say, like, oh, please don't tell him up here, and then Connor's like, he's up here, or something.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah, so I thought you might have an option there, because you can also just fuck up that investigation, not go into the attic, and then they just leave without catching him.
That was me. I played this game very tired, and I was telling Dylan the story. I was like, oh, I'm going to play through it all night, and it's a game where I found you cannot play when you're tired, because it's very slow and methodical. So I tried again last night, I was falling asleep. I completely, I was just kind of bullshitting everything through. I'm, looking through the investigation, reconstructing everything, and then I go talk to I'm like, okay, good, I do it, let's move on. I talk to Anderson, so he's like, what happened? And I'm like, oh, no. And I'm like, it started in the kitchen. He's like, great. He's like, what happened after that? I'm like, I think the victim had it bad. He's like, no, they had it not. And then I screwed up all 4 in a row. He's like, yeah, this is useless. And I got, these big arrows, and then I just closed the case, and Amanda was like, you really let me down there. So, but I guess with Kara, I'm trying to think after...
Well, let's go back with Kara and go.
Yeah, so I'm trying. Yeah.
Back in order. So I quite like her intro. I think it's cool that you're just in first person view in the CyberLife store, and the guy Todd comes and gets you. So that's a cool initializing sequence.
Credits of them driving through the town. So that was cool.
And then I like that you your first thing is just like cleaning the house, doing,
That's classic.
doing
Heavy
the
Rain.
laundry.
Classic.
You'll come across, like, you might find Todd's gun, you might find his red ice is in the laundry
Mhm.
detergent thing. So you get little details all around, and then I guess you're kind of trying to figure out Alice because she doesn't really say anything. So
No.
you're just kind of trying to see what's going on. But I really like that opening sequence with her just going around that house. But one problem I have with that storyline is, so obviously it's revealed later that Alice is an android.
Yeah.
And I was thinking back, and like on my second playthrough, I've been trying to find any detail of like if you can possibly find that out sooner, because they do a flashback when you finally find out to when Kara was looking at this like
Magazine. Or whatever,
magazine or something that Todd had bought, like an android or something.
Yeah.
And you can't. It's like way too blurry to actually see it when you go to
Yeah,
the first
you
time.
get,
And
like-
on my second playthrough, I was like really looking directly at it just so I could see, and like it's very blurry, so you wouldn't be able to tell.
I think it's Saw stuff where technically, like, because other androids have that exact same magazine or like ad where it's like it's the almost like a white and red border, and then below they have their model and it's a picture of them.
Mhm.
But they make it blurry enough that you just think it's some sort of magazine. But it's a Saw thing where it's like, in the first one, I guess if you saw it quickly, and because you can't at least tell it's an image of a child, I feel. So I think if you know
Mhm.
ahead of time, but yeah, they don't. I can't remember too. There's one thing where I was on my second playthrough though where she did say something and I was like, okay, I should have picked up on that the first time. So I feel like there is maybe little hints there, but they play it pretty close just because I didn't see that coming.
There is a few hints, I guess. Like one you could say is that like just the way Alice acts towards you is like doesn't really seem very human, and like
No.
I was kind of confused on my first playthrough why she was just like cool with just going to Canada and like completely ditching this place. Like why why wouldn't they just like go to the cops or like I was
Okay,
just
yeah.
like kind of confused there. But there's also things like how Kara wouldn't know she's an android is confusing to me because Alice never eats anything. She would never go to the bathroom. So like how would she not know that she's an android?
She is cold though, remember, and you can give her food when you go to the motel if you steal food. I think I didn't steal food because I didn't have the time.
I never saw her eat. Like I know Ralph brings
Yeah.
out some food this one time, and she's like, I'm not gonna eat it.
Yeah.
And then I offered her cookies later, and she was like, I'm not hungry. So I didn't see her eat at any point.
Okay, yeah, I don't know if I didn't see her eat, but there is an option in the game to steal some food, and I just didn't have time, so I wonder if she would have ate because you also do give her like a bath. at one
I
point,
stole that candy bar from the shop,
Mhm.
and I don't remember. I don't think it led into anything.
Okay.
So I don't know. I felt like
The question that I remembered having was I asked her like, "Oh, could we go anywhere with your family?" And she's like, "No, I have no family on my second playthrough." So I feel like if I heard that my first time, I would have been like, "Oh, something
Yeah, I
that
didn't- I
should
didn't
be
get
up."
that
But yeah,
voice
so
line.
I got that at one point. She's like, "Yeah, I don't have any family." So I was like, "Oh, okay." So obviously on my second playthrough, doesn't help me now because I know she's a little android or whatnot. When you found out, were you still like, I'm doing a little bit to the end, but were you still loving and consoling of like, oh, I still love her, or were you like, I'm not gonna love this girl anymore?
yeah, I was
Okay.
still like, oh, I'll take care of her, of course. Like
On my second
we've been
play-
this far, like
Yeah.
that's kind of the point, right? Is that you treat her like a human, and then you find
But
out
you're
she's an
programmed that
android,
way.
and then it's like, oh, well, what's the difference, So
Yeah.
I think that was kind of the point of it. But
On my second playthrough, I'm gonna try to ditch her. I'm gonna be like, I don't love this kid anymore.
yeah,
Because I wanted to do
I'm
that.
pretty sure that you can't separate them. This
Yeah.
is kind of the. The thing is, I could be wrong on anything
Yeah.
I'm saying with this story because there's possible that I'm just missing things.
Well, because like with the motel, you didn't know that like that didn't lead to the chase, right? Because I thought the same thing. It's gonna lead to the chase, and the cops was like, nope, just no one's here. And
Mhm.
like, did you ever have that burger cutscene that I'm talking about with Hank and Connor?
Yeah.
Okay.
I had the burger cutscene.
Okay, I didn't get that my first playthrough.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We went right into the
Went and had sandwiches.
the
There.
detective, and then enchiladas, not a detective. Like the cop shop, and then into the second crime
Mhm.
scene with the doves or the pigeons. So
The doves and the pigeons.
so then after the creepy like android place, how did you get out of there? I unleashed the bear. I unleashed anything I could.
I unleashed the bear and the slaves downstairs,
Yeah.
and then. So the only difference I could find was just like what path you chose.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't find anything else. I was
Have
wondering
you
if it's
replayed
possible to get. Yeah, I played it twice.
Okay.
I'm wondering if it's possible to get Zotko's gun from him, but when I was in that room and like I couldn't interact with anything, so
On your second on my first playthrough, I released everything, and that's where I just stopped playing before this review. Did you? On your first playthrough, did you release everything you could? What did you do your second time?
I still released those like the people in the bear.
What I'm going to do, I'm
'Cause-
not going to release any of them and see
Yeah.
what happens. Because I want to find out how you would get out of there. Because at one point he just gets you in the yard with a gun to you.
Well, either way, you would still go outside.
But
and
then those people wouldn't come, right? So
But
how would you...
Luther still saves you.
Okay, so that's
technically.
what would happen.
I mean, I haven't played it, but I would imagine that Luther would still interrupt.
Yeah.
And then
I'll let you know.
that's
but
the thing
what
with
I'm
that
gonna do.
storyline is like if you die, then the story still moves on. Whereas I don't think Marcus can die
Mhm.
until like maybe the ending.
Yeah, I know they can all die. I think they could die a little before that because I hear there's one mission where they could all die. I don't know if it is.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I imagine it might be the path that I took, which we can talk about eventually. Because with Marcus, I went the whole riot squad taking people out,
Mhm.
and I think there's multiple times where you and Connor could die at the same time. It's like because when I finished I know it's a little off topic, but with Marcus, when I finished my takeover, I had a successful takeover, but then there was like 3 other ranches, so I thought one of those were maybe, the one where you lose as Marcus,
Mhm.
and Connor's also doing a mission with you, so I thought he could lose as well,
Right,
and it's
right.
tied to carry away, so...
Okay.
And then, the house I liked the idea of, it felt very creepy, and I liked the
Yeah, there was a lot of like
stuff.
thriller horror moments, especially with Kara's story. You know, between Todd and Zlatko.
Yeah.
And even Ralph to an extent. You know, it's quicker, but it still has that feel.
Mhm.
And so it's cool that not even just her storyline, but even like the junkyard scene from Marcus, for example. Very
Right
much,
on the first time.
yeah, quite scary. So I
Mhm.
like that they had that stuff. I can't remember if Heavy Rain probably had some.
Oh, well, there's serial
Horror
killers, so
thriller
there's some, like, you lose your kid quite a bit in this game.
Yeah.
In Heavy Rain, so...
Yeah.
What happens after...
After
I can never say it.
after Zlakos?
Zlakos?
After Zlakos, so you team up with Luther.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's any way to not team up with Luther.
No, he's gonna help you no matter what, I
Yeah,
guess.
I feel like he at least goes with you. I know he can die,
Yeah,
but
he died in my story.
yeah,
Yeah.
but that wouldn't be until later. So after that, you're driving, and then like your car breaks
This is where
down,
you get to roll.
and you have to go to the Pirates Cove
creepy amusement park.
Creepy
yeah.
amusement park. That part disappointed me because on my first playthrough, I was walking down, then I went down that side street, and like there was that frozen guy there. Cool little moment,
Yeah.
doing the freaky little thing. And then I walked down and I saw that abandoned house, so I went inside of it. And then, like, I was like, oh, I kind of want to explore more before going in there.
Mhm.
But then my second playthrough, I explored the whole area and there's nothing else to do. Like, you just go back to that house, so.
That's where I see. That's where replaying the game, because I haven't got to that yet. I think in the first playthrough, none of that bugs me because it's all new to you and
It does,
everything
yeah,
like
exactly.
that, and stuff like exploring that world and being in that amusement park because you don't know what's next. But when you do know what's next, there's stuff in, like we talked about with Marcus, like the junkyard thing. There's some missions that are just to get you literally from point A to point B with very little decisions, and I think on replayable aspect, those aren't the greatest. So I haven't got to that one yet, but I'm thinking like, oh, there's not much I really want to do there because now already.
Oh, I was excited because I remember when I was walking down just the amusement park entryway, I saw like a pirate ship in the distance. I was like, oh, sweet. I wonder if you can like go in there and like camp out there for the night. But then I went into the house and then it ended that, and then second time like you can't go anywhere else.
Okay,
So
that's good to know.
yeah, and I mean, I don't know. It's too bad, but really that was another one of those missions where there is no choice, and there's only one ending as well. I saw
Yeah.
on the flowchart. So either way, you run into those guys, and then they take you out, and you put her on the carousel, and then.
Well, and I'm surprised with that one too because I feel like it could have been like another car or hotel, like creepy house one where you could like the pirate ship. You could have like obviously I think no matter what, gonna eventually get to Rose's place, but you could have choose to sleep somewhere else. But I guess it doesn't matter because they're just trying to keep Alice warm. So
Yeah.
And then at that point, how do you even get back to Rose's place? I can't even remember. How do you get to Rose's place?
I can't remember either. I feel like you just walk there, or your car is like fixed or something.
Yeah,
or you just like end up there.
Yeah,
possible.
But either way, you get there, and then obviously there's.
I think you just show up.
Yeah.
I think the next time you see them, you just show up. That happens a couple times. I mean, it's the same thing after you sleep in the motel. Actually, I don't know. You slept in the motel.
Yeah.
Next time, like that was the end of that. You just woke up and you were going to Zlatko's place, right?
No, we woke up. I had to give Alice a bath. I was gonna get her some food, and then when I went out, I saw the cops, and then we boogied out of there. But that was just a cutscene of that.
And that was during that sequence still? Was it in the same level?
Yeah. I'm trying to think if there was. I think so. It must have been because I don't know if I played any. Oh no, there must have been jump. I think in between it was we went to bed. I think it was Marcus in the graveyard or whatever, and then it was back to that where we're in the motel and that's Connor because that's where the chase is supposed to happen, but
Right.
it doesn't. So
Yeah, I guess because no, you're right. Because you wake up and then as Kara, you cut your hair, change your look and stuff,
Yeah.
get some clothes. So yeah, that sequence happens no matter what.
And that's where I like
Definitely.
Kara as a character, but as we're talking about it more, I realize that I'm more drawn to. I'm actually, which is funny because I think you're opposite. I'm drawn to Marcus's story the most because I like what I did and I like the options.
Mhm.
And then Connor's next because I think anytime you're a cop, there's a lot more options. Where with Kara, I think it has the emotional and the heart of this story as far as you take care of this little girl. But there are a lot of missions where you're going to Rose, going to this, where I think on now replaying those for me, thinking about them, it's gonna be like, there's a lot of we're no matter what getting to this destination, and it's good, but it's the one
I think
the
her
least
story is
drawn to.
interesting because I'm pretty sure it is the one where obviously Connor you can die and then you come back.
Yeah.
Marcus, I'm really curious if he can actually die like anywhere except for like the end,
Mhm.
like the very ending like cinematic almost.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure Kara like can die in just a shit
few
ton of
options,
places.
yeah.
So that's how her story could be
Fair
like
enough.
the most interesting, or you could be curious to play it again
Mhm.
on your second playthrough because she died earlier or something.
Yeah,
But
I
for
guess
me,
I was
she
just
made it all the
lucky.
way to the end.
Yeah, I was lucky my first time. Yeah, she made it all the way in too. I made a bad choice.
Well, because I think if I remember Heavy Rain being like a lot more punishing. Like I remember there's
Yeah.
one scene in Heavy Rain, gonna spoil Heavy Rain, where you're like the dude who looks like Neo. He always wears the glasses.
Yeah.
And you like are in a car like junkyard or something.
Mhm.
Do you remember this?
Yeah,
this
I
scene?
think it's early on.
And I feel like that was really difficult. Like you can only fuck up like once or twice, and then he just dies.
Oh really?
I could be wrong. Like
Yeah.
this is my old nostalgic memory of this. But you know, going through Zlatko's house, like I messed up various times on my first run through that, and it doesn't really matter. Like he just misses his shots. You keep going, and this happens like a few times. So
Mhm.
I don't know.
And then I think Rose's house is pretty easy because you just gotta hide from the cops and say the right things, and I
Mhm.
didn't have a problem there. I don't think the cops said. Well, I'm not sure. Maybe the cops could arrest you, but that didn't happen to me. And then eventually,
You could mess up because you only had like a minute to kind of tidy everything up.
Oh, okay,
I'm sure
fair
if he
enough,
walks
yeah.
around, he would get some clues that there's people there, and I kind of want to see. That's one I'm curious to see again, just because you could probably rat out like the other androids. I'm wondering if he would kill Kara there and like her story just ends there,
well, you can't.
or if you like
yeah.
the other people get sussed out and you just like leave and are okay.
Because at one point in the game, in my story, I could give up other androids. I'm not sure if you got that point, but there's a vital point where I could
For
do
Kara,
it. Yeah.
yeah, right when he answers the door, you can say that if you want, right?
Oh, I'm talking about another time in the game
Oh,
where I
okay.
could, like, literally, there's a point where it's either me or that android, and I choose to sacrifice that android.
Mm-hmm.
Shoutouts to Jerry. We'll talk about him later.
Jerry.
But and then after that, I think that's when, for a while, if I remember, you don't play with her for a little bit. I feel like there's a lot of Connor and Marcus stuff because it's all about the rebellion and investigation. I feel like the next time Kara's there, she's going to Jericho, or am I missing anything from Rose?
Well, I
to
think
Jericho?
her story is just kind of a bit more simple because you're just like you said, a lot of travel sequences.
But that's
So
after Rose.
I thought the pacing was quite good.
Yeah.
I feel like you never really are gone from one character for too long.
Yeah.
Like I think it's always like, let's say you play Kara, you'll go to a Marcus mission, a Connor mission, maybe you'll have a second Marcus mission, then you'll go right back to Kara. Like I never
Yeah.
felt like you were going for too long without seeing a certain
Yeah.
character. And none of my characters died until on my first playthrough. Connor died like right at the end, like the second Connor.
Yeah.
I don't know how many times you can die with Connor, but he died the second time, then his story ended there.
I died 2 times, and then I survived the finale.
He came back again.
Yeah, I got hit by a car, and then Hank shot me one time.
Hank shot me today. It was brutal.
Oh, you're taking that approach now with them? Yeah.
Yeah,
it's a
I had
tough
to
scene.
see the opposite.
Yeah.
Yeah, so,
But that's, I mean, after Rose, I think it's Jericho, right? She ends up going to Jericho?
yeah, I
Yeah.
think so. And so, I'm curious as well because there's a couple options. One, you could, like, leave that night for the border, and then the other one is you can go, like, go over the river with the other androids. I'm not sure if you can actually do that. I'm not sure if that's part of, like...
Oh, see, I'll have to look up for that, because I can't remember that. I just
remember them talking about it. I don't remember if it was ever an
Oh,
actual
okay.
option. So.
Because there is one, like, I don't know if you got this, and this is spoilers for a bunch of people, but there is one tree that I saw it's a tree that I have nothing done on it. It says Kara captured. Have you
Yeah.
ever played? Have you
Well,
played through that at all?
I don't think so.
No, so
But
that's what I'm wondering.
I saw I saw that there is some like little missions that I just didn't even see.
Yeah, so I am wondering because with my playthrough, I don't remember having any options of Kira doing that. I just remember Marcus just being like, "Yeah, you're gonna be safe here, and it's gonna be okay." That's what I have to think of. Because once you play through it once and then a second time, I do lose some of the stuff as far as because you do make a lot of choices. Sometimes not all the choices mean anything, but you do just dialogue trees, and that's where I'm trying to remember. Like, did I have an option? But I didn't remember having an option of leaving right away or not. I couldn't remember. Maybe there was, but I just lost it in my.
Yeah,
in
it's
my
always
mind.
possible that there's like a little detail or clue that you just didn't see that could lead to you not
True.
having like a shortcut or something. So I know there's like some levels where I'm like, okay, I'm looking back at the flow chart and I'm like, I did not miss anything, but there's like a couple things that are scattered. I'm like, I have no idea what I possibly missed here, but
and
something.
I will say I think that, and I guess it's just for me. I felt like when Marcus and Kara met, it was a little underwhelming because it's very just like you're another android. I thought just because it was a main character for me, they do talk, but I thought they might talk more about because my Marcus was being a very bad boy and might be like, hey, maybe you shouldn't do because I was like Connor. I made like my first playthrough. I made him kind of conflicted in his life. Marcus was headstrong, and Kara was like the really nice one. So I thought, oh, is there a chance because she's really nice, she might try to talk and say, oh, you might be doing this the wrong way.
Yeah.
But I feel like their interaction in my story at least was just kind of very much like, hey, you're another android, we'll take care of you, okay, cool, and that was about it. I thought because it was a main character where I feel like Marcus and Connor get a big moment, her and Marcus to me didn't get a big moment, so I guess can throw as a con. And then after that, are you literally? I think you're trying to get across the border next, right?
Yeah, so you're like sneaking through the streets. There's.
I liked that. That was very intense, and that's where there's.
And that's the thing. There wasn't any mission I disliked as her on my first playthrough. It's only on my second playthrough where some of them, I just felt like it was the same thing.
I compare that to almost the way I've been thinking about this is if you watch a movie and then it's almost like you have to play the movie or you want to watch the movie like right away, and it's like even if you love that movie, there might be certain scenes unless it's maybe for me, so like Infinity War, like there's certain scenes where like I like this one less, so I gotta sit through. Like okay, perfect example, Last Jedi. I really really like the Last Jedi. I'm a big defender of it, but stuff like the Finn and Rose stuff, I'm like, oh, this is stuff I gotta sit through to get to the next part, right? And that's where some of these on a replay, it's like I'll talk about it a lot with Marcus, but that's where a lot of that stuff is like that. But my first playthrough, I really enjoyed that. I at one point.
What happened with you at the border?
So I did.
Situation?
So I just got
you fucked that up, didn't you?
Yeah, I gotta set this up. So I did. There was a guy, Jerry, who I don't know when did we meet Jerry. Was he at Roses or something?
I'm trying to remember who Jerry is.
He's an android that has ginger hair. Anyways, at one point when you're sneaking, they're about to kill him and another one. And Alice like, we have to save them. And I did save them because Alice really wanted me to. So I saved them. When I get to the border, I choose to stole that family's pass. I'm not sure if what you did.
You have to.
You have to?
I think you have to.
Because
what happened is I gave it back to her. I tried. I didn't get there in my second playthrough. I just replayed that mission.
Okay.
And because I was curious, because if you like scan the area, there's nothing else to do. That's the only like thing to interact
Yeah, I was
with.
wondering if you.
I gave it back to them,
yeah.
and then just some guards walked by, and I went and they like came up to me like, "Hey, can I see your ID?" I gave them the ID. They just scanned me and like shot me because I was an android.
Oh.
So it was very underwhelming. I was like, what is going on here? And that one kind of bothered me a bit because I was like, it just felt like kind of cheesy. Like they couldn't have thought of something a little bit more.
Well, it's strange because even
and it doubled because there's no other options. That's like the only thing they could come up with. I'm okay
that,
if there's like 4 options and one of them is like really lame because whatever there's other options. Just create it differently. You make your own story. But when it's only you're finding this like lucky ticket that they dropped on the ground and then
that was really lazy. That was that's what is frustrating with that one is because something like the grocery store, you can steal food, you can just kind of leave that area, you can I held them with the
that
gun.
area is like by far one of the best in terms of having a lot of different options, even though they all kind of lead to the same thing.
Yeah, and I held them up with a gun, and then I played through it another time where I just stole the money in the cash register. So there's all these options, and even then, not so much of like, okay, I'll get past the cheesiness if they just drop them on the ground. But then after you tell me that, if you give it back, you just get shot. I wish there was even like a couple more ways to find a way to get on the train or get a pass or something like that. Where I didn't know that because I was going to replay that and not give them the pass, but just getting shot. It's like, that's where, especially at that point, I feel like the story for the most part is pretty good and it is in a heightened reality. But I feel like there's some realistic stuff, but that's where the jump in logic goes. Like, you're in this world that's trying to be very realistic, and then it's just like, oh, like I forgot that pass or I dropped that pass, honey, where could it have been? It's like the most important pass. You just have it in your bag and just flies out. Like it was super cheesy, but okay, I didn't know. So you have to take the pass. So that's good to know. So yeah, I took the pass. I get in the line. I see Jerry's there, and he's just like, if you need any help, I'll help you. And then Rose, and you talk to Rose in the bathroom.
I feel like Jerry might have died for me quick or something.
He must have, or maybe is there a part where you didn't save people in the streets when you were running?
It's possible. As Kara on my first playthrough, I just did everything to protect Alice.
Okay.
And like fuck anyone else. Like even Luther, I'll let Luther die to protect Alice.
Yeah. So with me, I'm at the border patrol, and the other thing was there's one moment I really enjoyed was when I got there. It was the path at the end to get there. It's like either take the left, and then it was you got to show your ID, which is a fake ID, and it's fine, but there where you could scan. So it was like the direct but fast approach, and then it was the longer approach, but it was a sneaky approach. Do you remember which one you took to get across?
I took the longer one.
I didn't get to because I didn't have enough time. Because I saved those people.
Yeah. So what ended up happening? Because for me, I took the longer one. And then like there isn't a thing. Like it just skips past it. It's just like you pick the longer route, they go to the longer route, and then you wake up and you're at the next like.
Really, that's disappointing. So when you go to the left, you have to answer all these questions and everything like that. And I think I made the right choice because I answer all these questions, and then you're walking, and as you're about to stop, he's like, "Wait a second," and you got like this quick, and it's like, draw your gun on him or just stay quiet. I stayed quiet, and he's just like, "You drop this," and I'll drop one of our mitts. But I really want to see. I think you might just get shot down right there.
Yeah.
But I was really impressed with myself that I didn't draw my gun because I'm like, oh shit, I'm gonna. I'm like, no, let's play it safe. But yeah, I think you have to answer questions correctly. But even if not, there is a moment where it seems like you make a life or death choice. I don't know. Maybe if you draw your gun, you just shoot them all. But I highly doubt that because there are 5 guys around with assault rifles. So next time I'm gonna do that, maybe choose not to. But I really love that if you. Take the left. It's a fun interaction you have with this like border patrol guy.
No, I didn't realize that I was kind of missing out on a fun area.
Yeah.
Going with the safer route.
So I'm in the office. I'm going in the line, and you talk with Rose and everything like that.
Go to the bathroom.
Yeah, you go to the bathroom. And then when I got to the office, he scans it, and then I have these options. And one's locked, so I have to ask you what you got. But it was just try to risk it. Just go through regularly. Give yourself up, or I could give Jerry up. And Jerry was the guy I saved, so I saved him. My first one, I totally fucked up because I took the risk it route. And then when I walk up there, he's like, he scans it, and then he realizes I'm an android. She's like, please, it's me and this girl. We just want to be free. We don't want any part of this. And then he looks up at the TV, and me as Magneto Marcus has completely took over Detroit, and I'm killing humans left and right. And he's like, no. And then they shoot Alice and Kara just in front of everybody. But then my second playthrough in the chapter, and I gave up Jerry, and they killed Jerry, and then in the midst of it, they just kind of forget about you, and they let you go through. So I should have, but the second I hit him, why did I do that? Because I'm like, even before he looked at the TV, I'm like, why did I not give up Jerry? The whole time I've given up people, but for some reason I'm like, I can't give up Jerry.
Who the fuck is Jerry? I need to see
I'm like,
Jerry.
I don't want to give up Jerry because he was so close, but it's like, I did risk my life to save him, so that was the only person that died in my first playthrough, and I felt like I did make a mistake. It wasn't, I was like, that was justified because the story I was playing, I should have made that run. I made a complete left turn, and because I wanted to save Jerry, and Jerry Jerry probably got killed too. I don't know.
No, he probably made it through.
Maybe you'll get to see Jerry. But so that's what happened with me. That's how I screwed up. I got killed.
I had I didn't have Magneto Marcus. I had good guy pacifist Marcus. So when he looked up at the TV, he's like, cool, you can go through. And I didn't really like that just because I thought it was maybe a little too cheesy because especially when I walked in the line, there's guards just killing androids left and right for being androids. So when I got there and he looks up, obviously it's cool because it's the choices I made as Marcus affected this character's storyline. I thought it was maybe a bit too cheesy. I think it's cheesy to me because it didn't really fit how the rest of the game would have handled this kind of situation.
I think it's supposed to be on that person where it's they're conflicted in the booth and they look up and they say, you know what, they can be good, and maybe he doesn't like that they're getting killed, right? Because in your line, no one's gotten killed before.
Certain situation too, mother-daughter thing, maybe more sympathy.
Yeah, so I think that's more on that. I do like that the Marcus thing affected that, but that one doesn't bug me just because it's this guy, this character we don't meet, has some inner turmoil. Looks at TV, he's like, yeah, I'm gonna let them go, you know, and then when they find out, they probably kill him. You let a bunch of androids through, man. What were you doing? So that was my Kara story. They just shot us in front of everybody.
That leads me right into another topic. So there's two I guess you have the public opinion, and there's also Jericho,
Yeah.
and these two things are constantly going up and down based on your decisions. And I think I liked it for the most part. Sometimes I felt like it was a little strange. Like I'd make a choice, and then like instantly
Jericho went up.
instantly Jericho would go up or down. It's like, how did they know anything that just happened? Like, it doesn't really make sense.
Well, I find it kind of weird too when Jericho will go up, but then you'll have Simon, North, and Josh's things all up and down. So it's kind of like, if some of them agree with this, why would Jericho be going up so much when some of them disagree? That someone, like, especially like Simon's the one, right? It's like
my problem was Jericho had like no personality whatsoever.
No.
And so one thing I was talking to you about just yesterday or something was obviously you have three main characters with Marcus, side characters, Simon, Josh, and North.
Yeah.
And I found them like they were all right, but I was maybe a little bit bored with them because no matter what, their decisions or their like perspective didn't like really change at all depending on what I did in the story.
Mm-hmm.
Because North always wanted to fight no matter what. The whole time I was like pacifist, and still until the very ending segment, even though she's like my lover at this point, she's still like always just wanting to fight people and kill people. And then Josh always was pacifist no matter what. And then Simon, like I said, he died a little early for me. And even today on this playthrough, he died again.
Really?
Like,
he made it to the end
died.
for me.
He died in the radio tower this time.
Oh. Okay.
I don't know how it happened.
Did you not shoot the guard? Is that what happened?
I shot everyone, man. Because
you're playing.
I'm Magneto Marcus now, so I was killing everyone, and like I even had an option to go save Simon. And I tried it, and then he still died. So I don't know much about Simon, but so I guess his opinion, he usually wants to like run away or just like escape.
Play it safe.
Yeah. So I
see that's
and then Jericho. That was my problem. When you first get to Jericho, you're kind of walk around and your only objective is to explore Jericho. So you go and you talk to that crazy girl with like the half head, you know,
Loretta or something like that.
Loretta.
I think it is Loretta or Letty. Yeah, it's something like that. It's something.
I thought it was something like regular, but
I know that's wrong.
It's kind of cool. You go around lighting some fires. I mean, they're not cold; they're androids, but I guess it's like comfort, you know, whatever.
Did you light them all?
I lit all of them.
Does it do anything?
Well,
there's a little bubble where it says like light up Jericho like in your flow chart, and I don't have a blue because I've never lit up every fire, so I was just wondering if it gave you like more points or something. I guess, but
I think they just generally Jericho likes you if you do that. I don't know why they can't do it themselves. It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I was walking around and you can talk to North. You can talk to Josh there, and there's like some kid with him. And then when you're finally done, you go talk to Simon. But throughout the game, like that point and forward, you can't. I guess there's like one or two people in there you can talk to.
Yeah.
But I wanted more of that throughout the game to be able to just talk to these people, and it didn't need to have any impact on what the story was, but just to like actually understand like these people's perspective and talk with the people of Jericho, because my opinion was constantly changing with them, and I never really felt like I got the opportunity to talk with them. And then the same thing with the public opinion is that you see like the news broadcasts, and that kind of shows you what people are thinking. But I would have liked if I had more opportunity to just go and like talk to random people on the street and just like I don't know, have conversations with people, just to like have that opinion like through actual conversation, as opposed to it just being like said to me in little like up down arrows every so often.
It's a risk of you to be on the street though right now. You're Marcus, you're the leader of the revolution.
Possible, but even as Connor, talk to people, like all these things. As Kara, maybe I talk to people on the street. I don't know. I wanted a little bit more of that.
Okay. Yeah.
Because I felt like Jericho and public opinion a little bit boring.
Yeah, I can agree with you on the Jericho stuff because I feel like, and I guess we can just start talking about Marcus now because we're kind of already there. I feel like I'll get to the beginning in a second. The middle of how you get there and how you just become the leader so quickly, I think, is
Very
a little, not a little bit of a negative. It is, but it's not even a little. It is. It's just rushed, and that's where when you referred to earlier, the story and the playthrough, I feel like is very quick. It's a short game, really, when you break it down. And I think that being longer could have helped because you just get in there. Marcus has this idea to be like, oh, we're going to do this. And they're like, okay, let's do it. And you're the leader now and everything like that.
Yeah.
So I didn't love that. Now what you've said about stuff like North, I didn't know she just full on always becomes your lover. because that's disappointing. Because I
I don't know if she always does.
well, because I took
Because in my first playthrough, I was like trying to make her my like I was.
Oh, you were trying.
Well,
okay.
I was always picking the pacifist route, but when I was talking with her one on one, I was always like very kind with her and stuff.
Okay.
But even though I was always making the decision she didn't like, she still fell in love with.
I can
character.
still feel. I'm still fine with that thing because what I'm gonna do though.
I think it worked. It didn't
Yeah.
come across
Because it shows that
like
they have
unrealistic.
different morals than what I'm gonna do on my second playthrough. Because I'll get to how I got to Magneto Marcus my first time. I'm playing like Xavier Marcus now, and what I'm gonna do though, I'm gonna push North away. I don't want anything to do with her. I want to
That's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah, because I don't. Because that for me, that's where I didn't feel it was ham-fisted. Because for me, I end up at the end of the game. Both it's Simon and is it Lucas or Josh? Josh. They are both alive with me until the very end. They do end up dying in our big battle. But they're in the end with me, and they do end up changing their opinion to be like, you know what? This is the only way. We have to be violent. We have to take all these people. They're not so raw about it, but they're like, we got to do this. And North's just like, yeah, we've always wanted to do this. So they're with me the whole time, and that's why I liked it, because I thought with North that, because I'm being very abrasive and very violent, she would like that because that's what she, not that she wants to be violent, but she wants that path, right, for us.
She thinks it's the only way.
Yeah, the only way. So that's why for me, that I can't judge until I play through it again. Because if there's a way not to be her lover, then I'll give it credit. But if it's always lovers, then I'll be a little pissed about that. Because to me, that choice you shouldn't have to be together just because like that's the female interest, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the Jericho portion is a little fast. But
Or you should be able to be lovers with Josh or Simon. Why not?
You really could. Yeah, I don't know why. Maybe they're lovers. Maybe that's why, but yeah, so I think that middle portion of Jericho, the introduction of it, is not the greatest. I like the stuff that follows, but I guess we should backtrack to the beginning of Marcus and with I can't remember Carl and Leo and everything like that. What happened when you play chess or piano?
I did both.
I've done both now.
I've done both.
Yeah.
Those two.
I like playing chess better because piano, you can't carry a tune when you're playing that. Like when you speed up and slow down, I feel like he is playing like music, but it sounds very all over the place.
I don't know. You could switch it up. You can go like faster for a few notes and then like slow down. And
Maybe I'm just not
chorus.
musically inclined, so for me it just sounds like a fucking mess.
Well, what one did you pick? What style? Because you can pick like what kind of music you want to play.
Do you remember the options?
I think there was like melancholy. I picked enigmatic because I was like, what the fuck is enigmatic music? So
I picked something that it sounded like it was supposed to be fast paced.
Okay.
So did that.
I like the chess match because it's funny. You just like it makes sense. You can pick win to lose or to draw. And so I was like, I'm gonna go for a safe draw.
I went the draw as well. Yeah. And then obviously you're there for a while, so that's in multiple chapters. But I think there's like 3 separate ones where it's like
you start out. You go to the paint shop. You walk through this place that you end up going to later and have like a big heist there.
Mm-hmm. And then there's that moment where you see the human rioting and whatnot, and you get beat up. Like at least I got beat up. So, but you're just in that chunk for a little while, and then Leo, his troublemaking son's there. What did you do the first time when Leo's pushing you? Did you not fight back, or did you fight back?
The first time I didn't fight back.
Me either, yeah.
I didn't fight back, and then Carl has his heart attack and dies, and then Marcus goes over and hangs out with him, and then Leo blames you, and then you get sent to the junkyard.
Mm-hmm.
And then second time, I fought back, killed Leo. Carl lives.
Yeah.
You still go to junkyard. That's something I'm really, really curious about, because at one point later, near the end of Marcus's story, you go to Carl's grave and you have like a retrospective moment.
Yeah.
So I'm really curious, and I'm looking forward to, and I'm actually going to be disappointed if there's no moment where you reconnect with Carl.
I think you're
because I'd love to see how Carl has reacted. He obviously is like a really nice guy and had a big impact on probably why Marcus is doing this grand scheme and trying to free everyone.
Yeah.
So I'm really curious how he's going to react to what you do, and it'd be even cooler if he has vastly different reactions depending on if you're Magneto Marcus or Xavier Marcus.
Oh yeah, that'll be really interesting now, because now I want to play through the game again as Magneto Marcus, but to talk to Carl. So I'm gonna
I'm Magneto Marcus now in Carl's life, so I can fulfill that for you.
You gotta let me know, because I'm very interested in that. I thought when you pushed Leo, I was very surprised that he died.
Oftentimes I was surprised that I was like, I don't want to kill this person, I just want to do something light, but then perfect shots right through the heart.
Oh yeah, I'll talk about that coming up. But and then for a second when I pushed Leo, I thought there was a chance I wasn't gonna actually get shot and go to the graveyard, because Carl's like, run, get out of here, and then you say something and the cops show up. I did say something that was like insulting him. So I thought, oh, maybe I shouldn't have said that. But then when I looked, there was only 2 options. So for a split second, I was even more so excited.
Yeah.
Like, oh, was there?
That seems kind of weird to me. Like, I don't see why.
I don't think you need.
Obviously, they want you to see the junkyard scene,
but you could replace that with something else. And I feel like that'd be because if there's a whole chapter where Kara gets kidnapped, that's a pretty huge chunk of a game that I have not played, and I feel like that'd have some good set piece. So I feel like having the scrapyard as a separate set piece, and maybe whatever, him just on the run, like a similar. I guess they don't want to make it too similar to Cars, where he's trying to find a place to stay, this and that. But
yeah.
at the same point, like he goes.
Well, all you need is.
Well, I guess he finds
all
out
you
Jericho
need is
from
some
the dead
little-
android, though, right? But
Yeah,
he could
but-
find a different way.
Exactly. Like all you need is. Honestly, you can have any single set piece in the world because all you need is an android to say, "Hey, go to Jericho."
Yeah.
It's that simple. So
Yeah, so my playthrough, that's what I was referring to earlier. So they make that mission, you go to the tower, and this is where I was referring to I wish there was a trigger to see what you're gonna say, because they do the radio call. Like Dylan was saying, there's at one point where there's a guard running and it says shoot or let him run. I wish there was a third option of let him run, shoot him in the leg, kill him. Because I still think that could be, because I think.
No, I completely agree.
I think
It's
there's-
like kind of triggering to me because I was trying to be the pacifist
Yeah.
the whole time, and that was the only guy I killed. My
Oh,
whole
really? Yeah,
and
I
my whole
killed a lot of
playthrough as
people,
Marcus. That's the only guy that died.
Because for me, it's
Poor
like
guy.
there's sometimes in the game where it's like you can make multiple choices and even 3 to 4, and then this was just so black and white. And there's a lot of stuff with Marcus that is just black and white, and then a lot of times where it's not. So that was frustrating. That I thought when it just said shoot him, I would pop him in the shoulder and like let's just subdue him, but no, just full on kill him. And then so when you make your speech, it's either you make a determined speech or a hopeful speech. I think those are the 2 ones. And I picked determined the first time, and that's just really strong. He's like, we're gonna do this. We're free. We're people. Blah blah. And then I made a bunch of different catchphrases and buzzwords when they.
I was surprised when I hit territory, and he's like, "We declare one state of the U.S. become ours," and I was like, "Whoa!" That's
I think I never did, because I'm like,
it happened on my Magneto Marcus, so
Yeah.
it's a good request.
One thing I'll give a shout out to, I think that's what happens when you choose certain like slogans or buzzwords. When you do that riot later on, that's what they're chanting. So at one point, when you say "we are people," "we aren't," whatever, like I like that carried over. And then at the end, so I was digging the determined thing, because like I understood the hopeful thing, but like no, I want to get the message out there and be strong. And then it ends with you picking hopeful or determined, and I picked determined. And this is what put me on, because at this point I was conflicted what Marcus said it's going to be. This put me on a path I didn't want to be, but I was like, it's a video game. I never usually actually play as the bad guy first time.
Yeah.
But like, I'm going to do it because you pick determined, and then he's like, so after all this, none of you humans will be safe until we get what we want. And I was like, wait, that's not what I thought determined was still just like, we will not move our ground. We're not like, we're not going to give up our people, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think it was going to be none of you are going to be safe. And I was playing it with Kyle's here, and we just both looked at each other and was like, oh, whoa, like that took a complete right turn. And then I was just like, you know what, I'm going Killmonger, I'm going Magneto. At that point, I just accepted. I already threatened people's life, so I'm going to be
Full on.
evil, Marcus. And before you tell your story, one thing that really pissed me off at one point, really fun mission when you gotta like crash in the shopping mall and do all this stuff. There was multiple things in that city when you're like vandalizing or whatnot. When I do something, I didn't know if it was good or bad, because I would do something of like hack, and I felt like one terminal when I hacked it, was like, you're being bad, and then one was like, oh, this is good. So it was really weird. And then I'll throw it over to you that for that happened, it ended up that I was trying to destroy everything, but I ended up being on the more positive side of public opinion, because I would think like, oh, breaking this isn't as bad, and they're like, oh, that's fine. It's like, what was I supposed to do here? Like, is hacking worse or is destroying it worse? I don't know. So that happened, and then there's a moment where the androids are running that you freed, and a cop shoots them, right?
Yeah,
Does that happen for you?
yeah.
And you make this choice, and I made the choice to, I said Magneto Marcus, I killed the cops. So like, it was the most. And this is what pissed me off, because I wanted to completely destroy it, so I wish the choices for me were a bit more clear of when I was vandalizing stuff. It was completely kind of like, my character was bipolar at one point, because the news my public opinion was all over the place, and the news was like, oh, they made this statement and nobody was harmed and everything like this, and like they were showing peaceful prospects. But then they killed these police officers, and it was like, it made no sense. Like, and I guess I just kind of went with, oh, it shows that we'll be peaceful unless you get in our way, because I felt like they killed our people. So, but I wanted to be fully bad at that point, and I was making stuff that I was all over. So that was my little chunk of fully going to Magneto Marcus. But at one point, there were still times where it's like, I'm making good choices, and I don't want to be. So,
I think Marcus's story, maybe why it was the one I liked the least, is because I think it just was very basic, and like, I was taking these pacifist, generally like choices, and like it would just, public opinion up, Jericho up. Like, it just felt like I don't know. Obviously, if I was fighting people, it'd be a different story. But
Have you,
it was kind of basic.
How far have you got through with Magneto Marcus?
Not all that far. I guess I've gotten to. I did the speech.
Yeah.
And so I did the same thing as
Yeah.
you determined, and then I think I've maybe done 1 or 2 missions.
I think as you go on, you'll see. Because for me, I think Marcus as the Xavier, the rebellion leader, the peaceful one. I think that's a better story that makes sense as far as from point A to point B, you can see it happening.
Mm-hmm.
Where Magneto Marcus, it does make sense. We make a few more jumps of logic, but I think you'll have to get back to me when you play it. It's more fun with that way, like when you're making these bad choices and doing these bad things, like because it is. I would imagine when you're peaceful, Marcus is just kind of like, like we're doing this and we're saving the people and we're marching peacefully. And nothing's gonna help us. But I felt like I was a loose cannon.
The ending was still very intense, just because the humans were not. It took a very long time for the humans to back down. It isn't until like the very last segment that they really start to like, okay, we're not gonna kill these guys.
No,
but
really,
but like by the end, all the androids were pretty much dead with the pacifist route. Like they really killed a lot of people. I think Josh lives.
Wow.
I think that might be the one difference.
Did North die for you?
North lives.
Wow. Okay.
North does live. What happened is afterwards I did go back
so
and I replayed that.
Are you talking about the last mission of the game or the next chunk after where you do the protest? Because I know
I was talking more about the end just now.
Okay, because that's where I was.
Because my point is just it doesn't. It's not until like pretty much the very end where like the public opinion of like people liking me felt like it mattered. Like up until that point, it was just like the cops were just destroying my people.
Yeah.
I didn't have that same ambiguity as you did when I was like vandalizing that street. Like everything,
okay.
I
Maybe
felt.
I didn't. Was not.
At first, I was like, I don't know if hack is a good thing, but then it just like put up my sign. I was like, okay, I guess that's the good thing.
Okay.
I managed that, but one thing, yeah. So obviously, first few Marcus missions. I guess the difference is like Carl lives or dies, so maybe that affects something later. But yeah, Junkyard Seed's pretty much always the same. Jericho, going to Jericho. I didn't like doing that twice. That was kind of boring. Just like scanning all those little codes and like just walking through the streets. Like didn't really need to do that again. And then I'm doing the Magneto Marcus on this playthrough, but I'm also just trying to fuck up as bad as possible. Like I'm trying to.
Oh, right, because you're trying to. Kill
I'm trying to see if he can die, and I'm also just trying to be like a total failure and. So I'm picking like really inconsistent speeches, like it was very disjointed and like kind of weird. And then so that mission where you go, he's a really weird guy. Like people are just like, he's doing a good thing, but like
he's more of a Malekith than a Magneto. Malekith Marcus.
So that mission where you go to the warehouse, the Harbor District, to get some supplies. On my first playthrough. I, like a legend, took out that drone, and then that one guy
fucked up.
I fucked it up the second time, and I was...
Nothing happened. Well, kind of, yeah.
Yeah, so that actually was annoying to me, because on my first playthrough, I took out that drone, like a legend, and then we moved on, and everyone was like, nice job, Jericho, opinion up, North, opinion... Everyone happy. The second time, pretty much the same things happened. I still take down the drone. I kind of, like, fell, but, like, I still took out the drone. And, like, Jericho's pissed at me. Is that not what happened with you?
So the cops didn't show up when you fucked up the drone?
So what happened is I did the pre-construct to get to the drone, because I'm pretty sure there's only one way to do that.
I think it's almost the game most times.
Like, because you can go with one route, but then it's like, this is too far, and so you have to go back.
Too fast.
And so I did everything, but then when I landed on the drone, I didn't hit X at all, so Marcus was just, like, fumbling. But he still knocks the drone onto the ground without me hitting any buttons. The drone gets knocked out, and like I get a scratch, and it's like, oh, nice going, idiot.
So the cops didn't show up for you.
So, well, what happened after that is the one guard comes, and he's like talking to you, and he's like, you're disobeying. He's the android. And then the other guards are coming around the corner looking for him, and I killed that guy. The second guy that comes around?
That didn't happen to me.
Okay.
So what happened is the drone...
So the alarm went off for you.
The drone saw me, North took out the drone, and then cops...
How did she take out the drone?
She just does... I can't remember, but she does something.
That's so confusing to me. I didn't hit any buttons, and he still took out the drone.
Yeah, that's weird, because for me,
that's
so that happened, and then a separate cop car shows up to the location, drives up, and then you got this option of you gotta choose you can abandon the mission, you can hide, or you can hide in plain sight, where you're supposed to be like kissing or whatnot.
Drax.
Yeah, pretty much. I chose to just hide in general, and we hid behind a car, and they went away, and then I did some fake call. I said there's some emergency or whatnot, but I wish you got that, because there is a choice where you can abandon that whole mission. You can just leave it. Well, I don't know if it is, but it gave me an option to abandon the mission. So, and I imagine if you went back, they'd be really pissed off.
I know you have a couple choices.
Maybe they kick you out or something.
So either way, when I killed that guard or I didn't, that second guard that shows up, that one android still like wants to go with you. He wants to go back to Jericho. The first time I was like, no, dude, you can't come with us, because I was like, I don't know, this guy might be bad. And then
I completely fucked up. No, I know what you're saying now. I meant the drone back at the mall. That's what I meant. That drone, that's our underpass. Okay, so
I'm still talking about that harbor mission.
Did the harbor happen first?
It does, yeah.
That's where I fucked up. Okay, I thought it was the mall, and then
I just played it again today. That's probably why my memory's a little fresh.
I really like the harbor or the warehouse thing.
I liked it because it did have options. I realized so.
I brought him back the first time with us, even as Magneto.
And then when you brought him back, did you take the truck?
Or did you
just take him and leave? So
we took the truck.
You took the truck. Yeah. And so you went in there and stole the key?
Yeah. And I did a power surge, and then they got out of there. I took the key, and then...
A power surge? Okay, cool.
Yeah, that's how I did.
I was trying to be... I broke in there, took the gun, and just fucking killed them. It was...
As Xavier Marcus?
No, on my playthrough today.
Okay.
Because the first playthrough, I was like, no, you can't come with me to the guard.
Right.
And then, so you don't have the option to get the car, because he's the one who recommends you go get the key.
But
I was still kind of surprised, because... So I went in there, grabbed the gun, because it's like to threaten them. So I was like, okay, I'm going to threaten them. And I hit a couple of the buttons, but then I was like, okay, I'm going to let go of the controller, see what happens. So I messed up probably 10 things in a row, missed all of them, and Marcus still kills them.
Oh, really?
So I was like, that's pretty intense. Like, I guess, I don't know, maybe it's because I hit the first two buttons that triggers the rest of it, but...
I doubt it.
It's disappointing to me when I feel like it doesn't actually really matter what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So
fair enough. Yeah, that's... I doubt it would do anything because they want you to get out of that situation. Yeah, no, my Magneto Marcus was like Magneto, where I didn't want to kill people, but if I had to, I would. That's the same reason why
I guess I'm full on like gonna kill everyone.
You're definitely I think more of a Killmonger, because Magneto still has like a bit of a that same way. I would have shot those cops, but I killed them because they killed my people. So, but okay, so now the warehouse. I really like that mission. I thought it was fun sneaking around, and then. So we talked about. Did you want to talk about anything as far as the mall? Because I talked about that.
The mall, yeah, that does happen later, but
yeah, because and obviously you just chose to let the cops not. Does it have? Am I wrong with the? Is that not the mission right after the warehouse thing, or is it that when you talk to North?
After the warehouse scene is when you go and do the broadcast.
Okay, I'm all.
And then after that is probably the mall, but I just got to the broadcast and just played through.
Your first playthrough, obviously, you let the cops live, I imagine.
Yep. Yeah, and that was no problem. So I want to talk about the broadcast tower mission. So this was really weird to me that, like, what happens in the story is Marcus has this grand plan to go to the broadcast tower and
get their message out.
Yeah, and so it just felt weird to me as the player, as the person playing Marcus, that I had no idea what this mission was. And so I was thinking back to like GTA 5, where you do these heists and you get to pick, like, obviously you pick a lot of things, like who's on your crew, what car, but you also get to pick, like, okay, do you want to go in like loud and rambunctious or whatever, you want to go in slow and quiet. And I don't know, I feel like there maybe should have been some option like how you do this mission.
Yeah.
Your goal is to get to the broadcast tower. You can do the first approach where you go talk to the people up front desk, sneak in, but I don't know, I think it would have been more fun if there was like you get to pick the heist. Yeah. Because I played through it twice and I tried to do as many things differently as possible, and I couldn't. It was pretty much the same thing twice in a row. The only difference is I killed a couple more people as Magneto Marcus. But yeah, so that was a little disappointing for me on the second playthrough. And that was once again like, I don't know, I kind of just want to be able to talk to people. Like walking through that broadcast tower, you're on that floor, there's a bunch of people, there's like meetings going on. I don't know, I just wanted to go around and like have some conversations with people, and like obviously they didn't want you, wouldn't fit the story perhaps, but I don't know, I was kind of disappointed at how that mission was the exact same twice. Yeah. When I feel like it was supposed to be like a big action set piece,
Yeah, no, I can't say you're wrong, because I haven't replayed it, but that's disappointing to know. But, yeah. The
difference is, how you choose to do your speech, and then how that affects the news broadcast after. Also, I killed people, so that was a factor as well.
I'm gonna when I do the radio speech, I'm gonna not kill that guard though and see what happens. See
Yeah.
if that changes anything.
Well, because it didn't. Yeah, like I said, that was the only guy I killed in that play. The first.
And you
playthrough.
killed them both, right? The second time you killed them as well. The radio broadcast.
So you're thinking the guards before you go in. I was talking about the one guy who tries
Yeah,
to
that
run
guy
away.
run. Yeah, have you killed them both times?
I guess I did. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's I'm gonna do that and not kill him and see what happens because they say he's gonna set the alarm if we don't kill him.
Right.
So
Well, either way, the cops show up pretty quick, but yeah,
they probably just still just show up
it's.
and you just
We'll
just-
see. Yeah. True.
Yeah, I'll let you know.
And
And
then
then
into
after
the
that,
mall area. I don't really have much to
No,
say.
it's pretty basic. It's
I kind of it's cool. I liked it. It was fun.
yeah.
But I've only seen the one story and it was it was pretty
Yeah.
basic. I just kind of felt like with Marcus that it was like a kind of basic story. Like nothing really seemed all that surprising to me.
Yeah.
You just like I don't know, just go through it all. So I don't know. I guess I gotta play it again to see if it really changes. But
I don't think it changed that much, but I think it all is dependent on that last thing you do with the cops. And to me, I thought that was a big moment of the set them free and kill the cops. Because for me, it's like, well, once I kill these cops, there's no going back because I'm gonna be a piece of shit. And I like that was an option, even though like it seems like a small option as a story point. I liked that they put and they gave him good motivation because I feel like even as if you're Xavier Marcus, they just gunned down a bunch of androids who were, I guess we were doing some stuff, but really they just killed them in cold blood. They could have took them to prison, right? And then the cops go, oh no, like don't kill us. So
Yeah.
I liked it, even though it's basic and the whole story I think is like that mission is kind of basic. I liked what happened. And then next is you talked to North right before the protests, I imagine.
I'm kind of blanking on the order of the rest of Marcus.
Yeah, let's just talk about the bigger stuff because North, like I think the conversation just depends on what you do. It's like about her past. I like that ties into what Connor and Hank were looking into. So
What did you think of the North and Marcus like love story?
I think it worked for my playthrough because I was exactly like her. I want to do the exact same things as Magneto Marcus. She wants to fight and I want to fight. So on my first playthrough, completely worked. I think it's a little rushed, but a lot of the stuff is in this game, right? It's very moving at a fast pace.
Yeah.
So for me, it worked on my first playthrough.
Yeah, I thought it was. I didn't think it was bad,
Mhm.
but I didn't think it was like didn't really stand out at all. I think a lot of their emotional moments are kind of contained with them like connecting hands and just like sharing something that I don't really know. I don't really know exactly what they're doing when they're connecting their hands like
we
that.
don't
So
know, yeah.
and that was kind of all of their emotional a lot of their emotional moments together.
Mhm.
But I still liked it enough. It was cool.
Okay, so the rally. So I imagine how did your rally go? Because I really like the mission of
Is that
like
the one where you're like walking down the street?
yeah, and I like that if you taking people and everything like that. Like you could sense. I wish they almost built up that there was something I don't know special about Marcus or something because at one point he's just looking at people and turning them. He didn't have to touch them anymore, which I liked. But I thought that I was like, oh, am I getting more powerful as Marcus?
Well, I
but
think
they never really.
I think he is like he's the RA9 that they're speaking of.
I
the whole
guess
time, right?
yeah, I guess so. I wish they stressed a bit more about that of why is he so special and why is this model out there? Because shouldn't there be other models?
That was actually my problem with a few moments in the game was what exactly androids like can do and what their impact is on each other because there's moments like, for example, the broadcast tower when you go there, there's like that one android at the front desk that you just go and you like touch her hand and like she instantly does what you want.
Yeah.
And she wasn't a deviant, so I'm just curious. Like, I feel like that there's a few points in the game where it's like, well, why couldn't I just have, as my android ability, touch someone, control them? Like with Connor, a lot of times, like, why can't I go into more android's memory and just see what their memory is? It felt like it was one of those things that okay, when we need it for the plot, we'll use it, but if not, kind of just forget about it. But I think it was responsible for a little bit of like confusion or like I guess you could say little plot holes. Nothing that broke the story for me, but just like okay, I feel like as an android I should have been able to get past this problem without having to worry about it too much. Or like maybe this could have been an option.
Yeah.
Just because this game's all about having options, really.
So what did you do in your rally? Because obviously you have three. You can either fight, stay, or run away.
Yeah, I just stood my ground. I didn't want to fight anyone. There was a few bouts of like them shooting a few people, and then they would chill out for a bit, and I was like, I'm still standing my ground, and they would just keep shooting. That's when Simon died in my
Good to know.
in my playthrough.
I'm gonna run away then.
Man, Simon does not have a good destiny in either of my playthroughs. He's
Oh,
dead already.
Don't know what you're wrong.
Yeah,
doing
so
wrong.
he dies there. But it's a nice scene. I like it. It's cool. It's fun. I did like going around just like connecting with all of them. You see like little interactions where there's one guy who's like his android like drops something on the ground or something. He's like getting really mad at it, and you just go like turn the android, and then the guy's like freaking out because his android's just like walking away. So there was like
Yeah, I
little
like that, yeah,
there was
yeah.
little moments on the
He's
street
free
there.
now.
That like I wanted more of those little interactions with people, you know.
Yeah.
And I like that a lot.
Yeah, I went full on for Frodo mode when they're like, "What are you gonna do?" I'm like, "We're running," and then they're like, "You?" I think they asked you, they're like, "You sure you want to do this?" I'm like, "Yeah." And that's where for me, I really enjoy the game because I guess I like that in times because that I was. There's games and moments where it's like you have no choice in the story, right? Where it's like no matter what, you're gonna stand there. And there's a personal thing, and maybe not me in real life, but in the game, like fuck these cops, like they're just shooting us. Like what are we gonna do? We're just gonna stand there. It's like yeah, but I like that. It's like no, you can run. And it's like you can run, yeah. And we ran, and we get in a big fight, and lots of androids die. I think there could be a chance where Simon or Josh might die if you screw up the quick time events because I've heard that happens that never happened to me in the game, but I've heard that can happen. But I really enjoyed the action quick time events there because you're fighting SWAT and you're doing flips and you're shooting people and you're saving North and everything. So I enjoyed it. I went full rally or I went full riot and it was great. And we lost a lot of android when we got back there. Like, see, you still lost a lot too. So
Everyone was dying.
Yeah, but
it wasn't until the very end that they stopped killing the androids senselessly.
Oh yeah, that never happened for me. So yeah, that happened, and then we went back, and people were kind of pissed, but North was really happy with me. So then, I think at that point is because in your story, do the police show up and take down Jericho?
Yeah.
Okay, so that probably happens no matter what.
Yeah, Jericho gets big destroyed.
Yeah, so I think we're kind of around that point because I don't think there's anything I'm missing after the big ride around.
Maybe one mission or two.
Yeah.
But
so a bunch of stuff happens there. Also, we talk about Kara. That's when she shows up. Connor also he shows up for you as well.
Yeah, a little bit later. Yeah.
I'm wondering with Connor if there's a way he doesn't show up because I guess we'll talk about that with Connor. I guess I'll wait for him because I got a question about that. But so okay, Jericho does blow up and everything like that. I saved at one point. You could not save Simon or Josh. I saved them both.
Mm-hmm.
So they were that's when they turned the corner for me. Is they were always kind of pushing back at me in my ideology, but then when I saved them, it seemed like they turned the corner.
Okay, that's good.
And then at the end, when you make that decision, when you make the big speech, I chose to fight. And then there's a big action set piece, and I loved it that you're literally just like you're storming this camp and you're shooting people, and there's grenades going off, and it was just full on like we're just gonna kill everybody. And then we did, like I said, I think there's a way that you could do the riot or do the takeover and lose, but we took it over. And then in my discussion with Marcus and Connor, I made Connor join us. I broke him, and then he was with us the whole time, and he went on a separate mission to help us out.
Yeah.
And then my story ended with Marcus and Connor standing with North on like this big platform. I lost Simon and Josh in the takeover, but then I was just talking to all these androids, and it ends with the president with a terrible American accent just saying like the androids have taken over Detroit, and that's how it went. And then there's some with Connor I can talk about after, but that's how it went. And thoroughly, you'll have to let me know if you play it. You will as Magneto, Marcus, but I really, really enjoyed the set piece as far as it's the best, I think, like kind of quick time event I've ever played with the fighting. I thought it was really well timed, and there's lots going off, and there's certain times where you have to actually pick, like, you'll have 3 squads of people, you go, okay, you guys are going to flank, you guys are going to shoot left, you guys are going to take defense, and I was always protecting North, obviously, stuff like that. And there's one time I tried it where they shot a bunch of the androids, and I was like down to 2 people. I was like, okay, what should I do with them? So I felt like I had a lot of choices there, and I really enjoyed that. So
sounds like a good segment.
Yeah, and I love just fucking all the humans up.
Destroying
humans.
Yeah,
fuck them. Yeah, they're awful. You know,
Destroy beyond humans.
I guess also I was taking the like Caesar approach too, of or I guess more the Koba approach. Yeah, so yeah, that's how my Marcus story ended. Ended with a happy ending for Marcus.
Yeah, mine. Like I said, like pretty much right at the end is when the humans are like they finally back down, and then there's a news thing with the president, and she decides to back down and release these androids from the camps, let them live. So it kind of just ended on that note, like
I swear
freedom is given and like people are happy and stuff, but still a lot of androids die.
I could be wrong, but I swear on the flow chart there's like the takeover, and then like what that happens there. There's the peaceful, and then what happens there. But I think there's a third one up there that was like a bunch of stuff locked that I want to try and get to. I'm not sure if that's just you just fail or maybe you die in Jericho or something like that. I'm not sure, but I think there is a third like something, and I don't know what that is. I want to see if I could get to it, but I could be wrong, but I thought I saw it in the flow chart. So
it seemed like at the end there was quite a few things that are
Yeah.
missing. You know, like you said, like a mission or two or something.
Oh yeah,
So-
for mine, even like going the dangerous route, there was 4 separate endings. So that's why I'm not sure if there's
Yeah.
one where you could take over, but North dies. You can take over, everyone's alive. You can take over, maybe Connor doesn't make it, etc., etc.
Mhm.
So for me,
Well, in my
Marcus
first
was my favorite
playthrough,
story.
Connor did die like again and for
like
good.
for good, yeah, he
Yeah.
didn't for me, yeah.
Yeah, and then yeah, that's pretty much the end of Marcus's story, I think.
But yeah, I guess to wrap it up, yeah, for me, I really enjoy Marcus stuff. I love the rebellion aspect, and I love being the evil guy. And I'll have to see because I'm playing it the nice way now. We'll see on my second playthrough, but I really enjoyed it, and that was my favorite one because it was the biggest set pieces I felt, and I felt I got to make the most choices of, like I said, like killing the cop or taking over. I felt like those were the bigger choices. Where with Kara stuff, it's very situational, it's just trying to survive. With Connor, there's a few times where it's detective stuff where if you just choose wrong, they're just gonna be like, you idiot. And I did pay for it. We'll talk about Hank later on. I did pay for it with some bad choices, but I liked the scope of Marcus' story, and I liked Marcus.
I mean, I think it's meant to be the primary story, and that's what the other ones are kind of built around. So yeah, overall, I enjoyed it enough.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't bad or anything. It didn't really grip me as much as the other two stories, I think.
I'm interested to see when you take the bad guy approach, see if you enjoy it anymore, because
Awesome.
I think it's a bit more of a cinematic story than it sounds like it would be just end of like, oh, it's peaceful.
Yeah, I think maybe one thing is with Connor's story in particular, Kara's is kind of like she kind of says exactly where she's going, and she does end up going there, but I never really felt like it was super linear. Like I was like, okay, I wonder what's going to happen next.
Yeah.
Connor's, I think, story is the one that took the most turns and twists.
Yeah.
And then Marcus's to me just seemed like I guess just predictable is kind of what it was. And even though it is a good message, and obviously there's some metaphor comparing things to what's happening in our world today that they're going for, and it was good, but it didn't really stand out particularly. And I don't know. I think it comes down to the characters for me and who I was interacting with. Obviously I didn't have Simon around, so maybe that's a fun relationship, but. Overall, Josh, and North were kind of just okay. So overall, his story was decent enough. It was
yeah.
Yeah.
So about Connor, his
big
terrible
Connor.
hair. Hated his hair. They
Really?
had, it was slick back, but then he had this one little strand down.
I thought he looked cool.
Gotta get some style. Great opening to the game.
Yeah,
Obviously we had seen
flicking
that.
the coin and
Yeah. Also we had seen on E3 too, just the whole like setup of
The
this,
rooftops
the Michael Fassbender, David looking android and everything. Like he looks exactly like David.
True,
Like,
true.
First playthrough, I got him to give the girl, but the helicopter still shot him. I'm not sure if that happened for you, so I'm not sure if I did anything wrong there. And then my second playthrough, I pushed him off the building and just saved the girl and sacrificed myself. So
That was what my second playthrough was.
what was your first?
First one, well, I told the helicopters to go away.
I did too.
So, yeah. Well, what happened for me is
They
he.
still shot him.
Oh yeah, it wasn't a helicopter that shot him, but some other sniper shot him.
Right.
Yeah, no. So the same thing happened for me.
So
I feel like he dies no matter what.
Really? Okay, I want to get to an ending where he doesn't die. I want to see if it's available because I felt that I had done everything right in my first playthrough for him to give up and not be shot. So that was one thing that frustrated me a little bit. I mean, that's why I have that stuff with Connor's story too. Is like I felt like the way I played it was the right scenario, and I should have got him to be just in prison or whatnot. The fact that he also got shot, I was like, I promised him he's gonna be safe, and he's still shot.
Yeah, I had that problem a couple times for sure.
Mm-hmm. And then after that, you meet Hank, and you're set to assign this case. And Hank, played by the great Clancy Brown, Mr. Krabs, and everything like that. He's probably, I think, the best performance out of all these.
Yeah, by far. Yeah.
Very experienced actor, but I love the whole buddy cop thing, and I'll throw over you once I'm done this. My experience with Hank was awful. Everything I was saying to Hank, I was getting red arrows. We were not communicating. And some of the stuff I was doing to experiment with the game, because I felt like a lot of the dialogue trees you got with him first. There's a moment where you're at his desk and you could ask him about his dog or about the thing, and I knew for a fact if I pick this option, it's probably going to give me a red arrow, but I still did it just to test it out, and I did like that. That's like, just because you've unlocked these conversations doesn't mean you should have them, so I like that, but that's where I think I screwed up a little bit at the beginning, and then at that point I kind of did the Marcus thing where I felt like I was on such a bad roll with Hank. I'm like, I'm just going to say fuck Hank, and then I just went against it, but any chance I did, I went the full on. And then there was a time where at the end I was turning a corner and I got some big blue arrows, but spoilers, it didn't matter because he killed himself, and he didn't respond to me talking to him because he's like, I fucking hate you. Even though there's some choices which we'll get into later, I made that I thought put us on neutral ground or something like that, but maybe it was just too much. So the first playthrough, no luck with Hank. Second playthrough, we're becoming best buds, which I'm thankful because I'm going to do some shady stuff later on. But my first playthrough with Connor, I hadn't decided what I was going to do with him, but I felt that eventually, once I got to Marcus, if that was a choice, I was going to turn him, and I did end up turning him off. So it's all specifics, but love the stuff with Hank and didn't have much luck with him.
Yeah, Connor's storyline was my favorite. I think gameplay wise, it was the most fun, like doing the investigations of the crime scenes. One thing I did talk about with Marcus, so there's a few sequences in the game where you're doing like these pre-constructed kind of parkour pathways, and they're kind of lame because there wasn't really any option, right?
You just had to find the right one.
You had to find the right one, and it's always the same on second playthrough. So Connor has a similar thing where you like are investigating a certain like spot, and then you go back in time, and then you like find out what was happening exactly, and then it's like the same, you know, in that first house you go to, how you spot him in the kitchen, and then you follow the pathway along, and then you track more of that, and it's cool because you actually have to like turn the camera around and look at stuff, and so I like those like a lot more than those Marcus segments. And they're kind of similar, but yeah, for me, I love the Hank and Connor storyline. On my first playthrough, I wanted to be friends with him, I wanted to work well with him, and I wanted to solve the case. That was my big thing. And so I pretty much always saved him when I had the chance.
Yeah, I didn't the first time.
I tried to help him out when I could, as like even a priority over the mission sometimes. But I would still go against him sometimes. Like I chased Kara and Alice across the highway even though he didn't want me to. Yeah. So I pissed him off a little bit sometimes.
I did
but
that because I thought I was gonna, if I caught them, I would like win some points with them. That's what ended up happening to me. Eventually, I said screw him. But a lot of my choices were I was doing this to try and get on his good side, and then it would go wrong. I was like, I can't do anything to please this guy, so fuck this guy. But for
Connor's, I mean, even just like we talked about earlier, like you pick a certain dialogue and you were like not ready for what he was about to say. That happened with me with Connor more than other characters.
Especially when he would say stuff like when he'd ask him to sit in the car, and there's certain options where you almost when there's one time when I chose like understanding with Hank, but the things he said like sounded like he was kind of being a little asshole towards Hank. So it's like that doesn't sound that understanding.
Well, Connor was interesting to me because obviously he doesn't become a deviant until way later in the story, and so he is a lot more robotic in his responses, and he seems a lot more cold and like emotionless at points. And so I liked that development across the story because he was a different android. He's the most advanced type that has existed in this world.
So you made him a deviant too at the end, right?
At the end I did.
Okay, because this time when I play through with him, I'm going to choose to take Marcus in or kill Marcus. I want to see what that does.
Yeah, on my current playthrough, what I'm trying to do is, well, one, I don't really give a shit about Hank. I'm trying to be an asshole to him just because I want to see what happens. But also, like, I do want to solve the case, and I want to make Amanda really happy. I want her to really like me because I want to see how that affects the story.
Yeah, me too, yeah.
And I'm trying to, like, I'm trying not to become a deviant at all. Like, I'm trying to be, like, just solve the case because that's what my objective as an android is. I'm trying to fulfill that job.
When you interrogated that first deviant that you catch in the attic, how did that end for you? Because that ended for me today, that him smashing his brain in because I just probed him. And then I was really
Same thing happened for me. I tried to be very sympathetic and always, like, on his side. And it worked. Like that first interrogation when he's in the room. Yeah. That worked, and like I got him to trust me and stuff. But then still, when he was in his cell later, he just smashed his head against the wall. So.
Oh really? Mine happened in the interrogation room.
Yeah, I managed to get him out of that room, but then he just kind of does it later.
I was mad that I figured out what happened, but Amanda still gave me a red arrow for letting the droid die, and I was like, fuck you.
She doesn't seem like she's ever really satisfied.
No, there's a few times.
I think it's more, with her, it's a lot about diplomacy and how you talk about her. Or how you talk with her. And how you explain things. And she doesn't give a shit if you throw Hank under the bus.
Well, yeah, that's one thing I noticed. I think my first play, when it says, how are you going to handle Hank? And I think I said I'm going to adapt. She gave me a blue arrow. And today I said, because I'm being friendly with Hank, so I'm going to be friendly. She gave me a red arrow. So I was like, oh, I have to try and be nice. But yeah, I'm wondering what is going to happen because you're playing like asshole Hank and also to please Amanda, where for my playthrough I'm playing to be Hank's best friend, but I'm also going to be like make the bad choice. So like there's also
you're gonna what, sorry? You're gonna be friends with Hank and then what?
And then fully be. So there's a part in the game where you go to the guy that created all the androids,
kind
right?
of like a Jared Leto sort of dude.
Exactly like that. That's all. That's what I thought the entire time. I was like, man, they definitely watched Blade Runner before. So obviously, there's that point where you gotta kill the droid. I don't know what I'm calling the droid. I mean, it's short, no android. You know, it's a
Hey,
name.
it works.
So he puts down this droid, and it's pretty much he's just having like a morale conversation with Connor, right? Like, oh, even though you're an android, like you should be able to do this because this doesn't mean anything to you, right? It's just a machine, piece of plastic. So you're gonna kill her. I'll give you information. Not gonna kill her. What did you do at the pool when he gives you the gun? And
I didn't kill her.
I didn't kill her either. And that's where Hank gives you lots of big points, right? I'm wondering, this is why I'm setting Hank up, I'm wondering for if I become Hank's very best friend, but I still kill, because when I did that, I got you got lots of blue. If I kill her, what happens there? And that's what I mean. I'm going to play both sides, where if like my first story, I was against Hank, and I went against Amanda. Where what's going to happen when I'm trying to be best friends with Amanda and best friends with Hank? And I wonder if, because with, I guess for you, like with your story with Hank, like it's tough because I don't want to know, but I still want to know, how does your story end with Hank? Like, because you're
so what I really liked about the Hank storyline is that the time it takes for you when you start out, and he obviously doesn't like you because he doesn't like androids, and then you slowly you learn more about him, you have conversations, you get to know more about him, you have some good moments, and if you're doing well in the investigation stuff, you're helping solve things, and you're succeeding, then he likes you more and more. And I felt like the transition from the start of the game to when he finally becomes your friend, like it took a decent amount of time, but it felt really good. And then you know, from the friendship, obviously they don't become lovers or something, but
not in our story.
I guess that's not obvious. You know, maybe that could happen. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
I don't think so.
But they, like, the friendship to me really made sense. And there's a moment in the, I think it actually is when you go to the, it's when you go to the broadcast tower as Connor and you're doing that investigation. And I chose to save Hank in that situation. Connor gets shot and dies. And then what was Hank's reaction to that when you saw him later?
He really liked it. So that was the problem, that I was trying to win. I was starting to win him over, but then it still went a bad ending.
You got like blue from it.
Yeah.
To me, he was really mad at me because he cared for me.
Really?
He was my friend. He cared for me, and he was like, "No, you fucking asshole! Like, how could you do?" You know.
Oh, that's good to know, because I think the reason why is because I didn't save him the first time, and he gave me a lot of shit for that.
Yeah, I did that today.
Yeah, and then so now when I saved him the next time, I think he was like, oh, he's turning around, kind of. But then that's where my problems with the Hank and Connor things was that. So that's happening. So we were shitty start, but then the ending, I didn't kill that girl. I saved him. I was getting big blue arrows, and then the problem was he had that conversation with the chief, and then he just leaves. And then the next time I don't know if that happens for you, but they get an argument, and he quits being on the force, and then he leaves. And the next time I see him, he just kills himself, which. That was my problems with the Connor Hank storyline. That's not my favorite. Was I finally felt like with that playthrough, I was starting to get somewhere with him, and then it ended really abruptly. And I was like, oh well, that was kind of lame, because all those blue arrows were really for nothing. I felt like I should have had a bit more of a connection or a bit more of a continuing story. But that's where with you, like, what does Hank end up like? Does he still quit the Force with you?
No,
Oh really?
Well, how were you? You were doing pretty good in the investigation and stuff as well.
No, I bungled the first one, and then I didn't. I bungled the first one because I was tired, and then the second time I didn't. At the time when you're timed in the sex club, didn't find the information. I got into that last room, and I'm not sure where you're supposed to look at her blood or something like that. I'm not sure because it timed out.
It's pretty much a random guess. You just have to pick the right android to take over and like see the pathway.
No, that one I got. It's when I got to the pathway, and then when it's the room where it's like. It's where she ran.
Garage yard.
Yeah, what do you do in the garage yard? Because I was talking, people were talking to me. I was trying to tell them to leave me alone because I'm trying to figure out. And then the time ran up. What do you do in that garage?
Oh, you just go in, you find her. She's just like standing in line with some other androids. You pick her out. Right?
I must have not got to that room because I got there and there was nothing. I was looking, examining the room, but I couldn't find it. Maybe I went to the wrong room.
In the warehouse, more part.
Yeah, and isn't there like a wall that has like a door up out to the outworld? Yeah.
Weird. Yeah, I found
Maybe
her. I just went over to this group of androids, clicked like L1 to look at them, and then you see her, and then like her and her friend like start attacking you.
Oh shit! Yeah, I probably just people.
You haven't seen this at all.
No, people just know. Yeah.
So I really liked that. The segment of getting to that garage is the exact same twice, so I didn't really like that so much.
Fun though, I think the first time. I liked the setting. I liked the world. I liked that. Just fleshed out the world. It reminds me of Blade Runner when he goes in that dancing club.
Well, because you hear about that place early on in the game, you see like a magazine of it or something. So, eventually you do.
Are androids better at sex than humans?
Yeah, 94 or 54% of men prefer sex than androids.
Yeah,
all these things.
So then Hank doesn't quit the force for you.
No, I really love that storyline because he didn't kill himself, and we got to like the very end of the story together, and then
really
I feel bad kind of spoiling this for you, but I at the same time, you know,
well, because I'm still
review
gonna
for the
play.
fans.
I'm still playing a different way because the thing is, you were good with Hank, but then you chose to join Marcus, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna choose not to join Marcus, so it's not spoiling. I'm not gonna go down that route. I'm gonna choose to be get.
So what happens is you join Marcus,
Yeah.
and then you go to the CyberLife facility to turn all those androids, right?
Yeah.
That's what you okay. I thought you were like, no, I didn't do that.
Yeah. No,
Oh, yeah.
and then you bump into Evil Connor.
You bump into Evil Connor, and so Hank was dead at that point for you, I guess.
Yeah.
So Hank is in there, and then
Oh,
there's
shit.
like a little scrap between Connor and a fake Connor, and then Hank's like, what the fuck? Who is it? And so he starts asking questions. He's like, okay, what's my dog name? And then,
Oh,
and then
nice.
both of them
That's
know the
awesome.
answer. And here's my problem with it, actually. I like all of it, but then what he asks is the final question of like, okay, how do I determine which one is real and which one isn't? And he said, what's my son's name? And I was like, you don't have a son.
Yeah, he does.
But I in my story, that hadn't occurred. Because in his house, you pick up this picture, right? And you see the kid.
Yeah.
I didn't do that on my first playthrough.
Oh,
And
really?
so I didn't know he had a kid. And
I did that
and
even
then-
as asshole to him. I knew he had a kid.
Yeah, I just
Oh,
didn't. Like, I was
yeah.
walking through his house because you only have a certain amount of time there.
Yeah,
that's the one thing I didn't do in the house.
That's awesome. I kind of like that.
But
though,
I
because-
didn't because I had this choice. He's like, what's my son's name? And there's 4 names. And I'm like, well, you don't have a son. Like, why is there not an option that says
that was your bad?
you
You
have
pick
no
up
son?
that picture.
I guess so, but I felt like the game should have reacted to that, and maybe there should have been an option that says you don't have a son, because as the Connor I had no idea.
You didn't even, but even at that point, I felt like
I didn't see it anywhere else in the game either.
I felt like I felt like they implied it quite a bit that he lost a kid to something to do with androids.
Possible,
Even
but
though that-
I wouldn't have known what his name was, so
Yeah,
either
fair
way would
enough,
have been a
fair enough.
25% chance,
Yeah.
yes.
And did you get it right?
I was just baffled. My controller was empty, and then the time ran out, and it just picked the default one, which was wrong. So
And then he kills you?
So what did happen after that? Yeah, he just straight up kills you because I picked the wrong name. It was kind of weird because I feel like even like I don't know when this other Connor robot was formed, but if I was in Hank's house early in the game, and I picked up that thing, and I saw that his name is Cole, and I see that he has a son, the other Connor would know that as well, because if this Connor knows that his dog's name is Sumo, and I can't remember what the other question was, then how would he not know that his son's name?
Did you replay that chapter?
What chapter?
Of that. Did you replay that when you went back in your flowchart? Have you replayed that yet and said it right and said Cole?
The name?
Yeah.
No, I didn't.
You should and find out what happens.
The reason I didn't is because the most recent checkpoint, you have to go. Yeah, it's a long time ago. Yeah. It's a different mission.
I hate.
And then since I didn't know what his name was, I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna have to do this.
Right.
Take a guess.
You didn't know his name,
and then I would just have to potentially do it twice more. So I was like, I don't really want to do that right now.
Right.
So maybe I should go back and replay it now. Now that I know what the kid's name is, and I can just pick it quickly.
Yeah.
Without even having to do the full.
Yeah, see, I really like that, but I think you bring up a good point of the other Connor would know, but I love that I didn't know that whole adventure had with Hank, and that's fine because I'm interested to see, like I said, if Hank's my best friend, what does he do if I take in Marcus? Like, or can I not even take? Like, I want to see what happens if I go full on, like, just love, like Cyborg. You know, like what happens if I do just take in Marcus? So no, you didn't spoil it for me because I'm not going down that route. So.
Nice. Yeah,
so that's cool.
So,
I really like
and
that.
then other Connor moments, like, you go to the first house and there's the guy stabbed a bunch of times, and I love, like, there's so many clues, so many things to look at. You go to the bathroom, you see, like, this totem on the ground, you see RA9, eventually you go in the attic. So I love that. I thought it was great. Really good level design, for that mission. And then you go to the
Pigeon House.
The Pigeon House, and I really like that mission as well.
I love the chase. I love that you get these options of like slow, direct, some like minimal, risky, but fast. I love the entire, and that's where I think the quick cutscenes or the quick cutscenes,
real time action.
Yeah, why do I call them quick cutscenes? I guess
that
quick.
could be what they're called.
But no, you're completely right. I really liked the controls in that chase too because I felt it was very fast paced and the jumping, and I love that.
Really good
level.
cinematics. You're like going through these weird like farm areas, like really.
And have you played that now when you don't save Hank?
I did both things, yeah. So on the first time I did save Hank and the android got away. Second time, I was actually a bit disappointed. So I didn't save Hank, I went and caught the android,
And he jumps.
and then he jumps, so he still killed himself. And
See, I think there might be. I don't know if there's a way that doesn't happen. I think he kills himself no matter what, that android.
I feel like no matter what, that android doesn't get caught.
And this is where I'll give you a big con for me is. So when I was playing through again with being nice to Hank, it's still the very first time at his desk. It still ends with him picking you up and throwing you against the wall. You've had that happen to you every time, right?
In the first,
Yeah, and the first time when you're at this desk, you're talking about sumo, and then you're talking about the case. It ends with him grabbing you by the coat and
that
slamming.
didn't happen both times, even though I said different things.
I looked at the charts because that's the only thing that happens. Hank
Okay.
gets mad no matter what, and I don't like. That's fine if he gets mad and does that. I hate that when that happens, you get a red arrow every time. It's like I'm not choosing to do this. It's the same thing as when that guy jumps. I got a red arrow with Amanda. I'm like, okay, I did fuck up because I guess I let him kill himself. But now when I looked at the flowchart, I'm pretty sure he kills himself all the time. So the fact that you always get a red arrow is like,
Yeah.
I don't like when you get red or blue arrows based on stuff that you are gonna just happen narratively no matter what. So,
I guess the reason that's not a big problem for me is I honestly never really felt like the arrows like did a whole lot. Like honestly,
they did well for
like
me.
if you
Connor,
made one
they did,
mistake
though.
here,
Or for me
here and
Hank,
there,
yeah.
like it didn't like drastically change the story, and you had other opportunities to get it back up. So it may like I do agree. I don't think you should get docked for anything that you actually don't have control over. I think everything should be based
Yeah.
off choice. But
The only reason I said it is because it feels like in my Connor and Hank the first playthrough that if I was more friendlier with them, he may have not quit the force, or I could have may have talked him out of not killing himself if it was better. But because
Possible,
when
yeah.
I went to him to tell him not to kill himself, he was like, "Hey, we fucking hate each other. Like, why do you even care? Like, get out of here." So
Yeah.
I felt like as a nicer Connor with him, that would have mattered. I don't know for a fact. I'll find that out hopefully one time. I don't know. I
well,
don't
it
know
will,
if I could,
yeah, because I got past both those moments. So
well, but I don't know if there's a way. I wonder if there's a way to get to Hank trying to commit suicide of you as his friend still, you know, or does that only happen if you guys are crap? Because with you, he didn't quit the force. With me, he quit the force fully. So, because there is a point
yeah,
where
I wonder if you can, if there's any room to switch those around. Right?
yeah, because I think there is a portion when he quits the force. There was an option where I said something. He was kind of still like, "Oh, screw you." I wonder if I could talk him out of it. But I wonder what I want to try to do is not talk him out of it. See if he's gonna try and kill himself, and see if I could talk him out of it. And see, but and then yeah, obviously. So yeah, with you had Hank the whole time. I was off my own with Connor. I went to the boat, and yeah, I joined Marcus up, and then yeah, for you, I guess Connor died. For me, Connor made it to the very end, and there's. I'm not gonna tell you.
He died like pretty much right at the end, but
Yeah. Because what are you gonna do with Connor in your second playthrough?
My goal in my second playthrough is I want Amanda to love every decision I make, and I want to just like
Right.
perfect every one of the investigations. I want to get them all right. I'm already a little bit behind on that because I was fucking around in the first mission, and I just same thing. Hank's like, let's get the hell out of here. Like, what are we doing? So
Yeah.
that one I messed up, but I did succeed with the Eden Club one, and
Okay.
Amanda liked my responses and stuff. So my goal is that, and then I guess I don't really care a whole lot what happens with Hank as much. Like I'm kind of being an asshole to him, and I'm not going to save him. I'm always going to go for the mission over saving Hank. So I'm curious to see.
I'm curious
'Cause
that.
I'm going to try to be full asshole to him actually.
Well, I also
But
wonder in that.
Priority on doing saving the mission.
I wonder in that radio tower if you don't save him if he dies, because with that one, the reason I didn't save him the first time because it said, oh, he has like an 89 chance of surviving. So I'm like, I don't need to save him. I should get this guy. He would understand. Then he got mad at me.
Yeah.
But in the radio tower, I think it's like a 30% or something like that. Like, it's pretty low. So I wonder if you choose to just run if Hank just dies right
Yeah.
there. I think there's a chance.
Well,
So,
I'll definitely find that out.
and are you
The
gonna
path I'll take.
take in Marcus then?
I'm also gonna not become a deviant. So
Yeah,
I'm
me
not
either.
gonna go with Marcus.
So then I can tell you this because it's the same as what you're talking about with Hank. You're not going to get to this unless you play it through a third time, which you probably won't for a while. So when I was a deviant with Marcus and I survived, I went to that tower without Hank, and I did this cool thing where I don't know what happens. I think you can die, but the bad Connor has you down, and it's either like do this, and mine it was a get up or this, and I thought all the other options could lead to me getting shot. I don't know if that's the fact. I haven't played over because the same thing. It's like it's a long chapter, but I chose to like swap bodies with him, so I literally put
Right.
him into the bad Connor or him in the damage.
That's what I did.
Yeah, I did that too, and then so I survived that, and then at the end is when we're at the stage, and I was telling you this about the other day. That was a big con, but I replayed it, and I'm fine with it now. When we're at the stage and Marcus is giving his big speech, Connor starts to like twitch and whatnot, and he gets taken into like this like inside his mind this world where it's all like cloudy and snowy and everything like that. And Amanda's like, oh, I built in one thing to ensure that no matter what you're gonna do your mission. He's like, what do you mean? He's like, she's like, this was the plan all along. So in my story, it was made that he was supposed to become a deviant, and then he was gonna assassinate Marcus. And what happens is you start to take out your gun, and this is why I told you the other day I thought was a big negative is you have to go find. The Jared Leto guy says like, oh, I always put something in there so you can escape. So you have to find like a box where you can put your hand on it, and then you can just be free as Connor. That happens to you too at some point?
I found that box, and I interacted it with like the first time I was in that place.
Like the snowy place, right?
Yeah.
How did you get there though? Because I thought that would only happen if I was with successful Marcus.
So I don't know. I walked over to it and I interacted with it, and it didn't do anything. So I think it doesn't do anything unless you do it later.
But I mean, like, how did that trigger that? Like, how did you get to that part?
Are you not talking about the place where you talk to Amanda?
I am, but mine is in like a different alternate reality. Mine is like it's like completely like
it's like a dreamscape sort of, right?
And is it snowy and dark and everything like that?
It's like it's not dark really.
Yeah, no, I don't think you've played this. This is completely like it's dark, it's snowy, it's a complete storm. Because what happens is you're trying to override what's in your mind, and you have to find like it's a box, but it's not. I don't know if it's what you're. You have to walk through the snow. There's trees, and you got to find like a system so you can put your hand on it and override you and become a deviant.
And that's when you become deviant, like at the Marcus thing.
At the Marcus.
I did that. Yeah.
Okay, because you didn't get to the part where Connor was alive, so I'm surprised you had to do that. Because what happens is if you don't find it, which this is what I said the other night that I thought was
like I'm saying, Connor doesn't die until like the end of the game, like the last mission.
Well, I still didn't understand though in your story why you'd have to do what I did. I'm surprised. That's what I'm saying.
My first playthrough, Amanda didn't like me very much, like at all. Just I thought I was doing pretty good, but I think it's because I was very close with Hanks. She just didn't like me.
Okay, well let's see, because I still don't know if we're talking about the same thing.
Yeah, I'm a little bit confused.
Yeah, I might have to YouTube it once and show you. But anyway, so there was a thing where I thought no matter what, you would find this area, you'd override, and you won't shoot Marcus. When I replayed the chapter, I'm like, what happens if I just stand here and don't touch the thing? You do assassinate Marcus. So I really like that. At first it was a negative because I thought, oh, no matter what you're going to... Because they make it really obvious. You like it's snowy, but there's a thing glowing in the distance, so it's like, I know where I got to get to be. But I'm like, what happens if I stand there and you just kill him? So I like that it was timed. They just didn't have a timer. So that's what my first story ended with Marcus, like, or Connor just being, you know, part of the revolution. And then when I replayed the chapter, he killed Marcus and didn't go well for him. So,
okay.
Yeah. So like I said, I enjoyed Connor's story, but I'm enjoying it more on a second time because I think there's a few problems that I had. So.
I mean, I think a big thing for me is I just love the chemistry between Hank and Connor.
Yeah.
So obviously, if he was just always pissed at you and then killed himself, so I can see why that wouldn't be as interesting. Yeah. But I love the dynamic between those two characters. Like even just that little like scene where you go to like that burger stand and he's just like eating his burger and. It's funny, you can like scan the burger and like tell him later like the amount of carbohydrates like in this burger and stuff. And
see, I didn't get that on my first playthrough, that whole scenario.
I like, because I felt like there was a few of those little moments. There's that one as well where you just park the car somewhere and Hank's just sitting out like looking out at the river and the bridge and stuff. And it's just like little moments where you get like character development between the two of them, but then you also obviously are off doing the detective stuff. So I just felt like there was a lot of variety, whereas Kara, it's always like you're kind of just going down the road, going on your next place, and then Marcus, it always felt like kind of the same progressive thing. But
I agree with that.
I like that the Connor storyline stopped a lot just to build up the two characters together.
Yeah.
And it's cool that can like drastically change your experience with the story depending on what your relationship with Hank is like. So I'm curious to play through it again and just fully side with Amanda and fuck over Hank and just see how that progresses and how enjoyable it is. Yeah.
Anything else you gotta add?
Let me see here. I guess we could talk about, we should talk about the menu girl. Because that was really interesting. So when
did you let her go at the end?
I did let her go.
Yeah, me too. I'm really disappointed every time I go back to the game she's not there.
I know.
I thought they were going to replace her with someone else.
I'm curious, like, if there is a way to get her back somehow.
Yeah.
Because I thought when I would start a new story that, like, she
doesn't come
back.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, like, maybe there's a chance when you go to the Jared Leto place, because there's 3 of her, right? Maybe there's like something going on there. If not, I do kind of want to Google it and just see if there's a way, because it's not it's more fun when you have her there.
Oh,
like
yeah.
she's very good company. But it's really I thought it was really cool that they used that to here adjust the brightness slider and make sure the screen is fitting correctly. Like I thought that was just a lot more fun than just like the basic way they do it. And then yeah, just like the little things she would say, like I fired up the game the second time. She's like, "Oh, you were playing really late last night," and just like weird little comments like this, and then asking you like all
You're
sorts
moving
of
through
questions
really quickly,
and like, "Hey, would you say that we're friends?"
Yeah.
And yeah, like kind of unsettling vibes, but just really interesting to me that it was something that was completely outside of the story.
Have you ever seen the movie Her?
No.
You should watch it if you like that menu screen. It's Joaquin Phoenix, and he falls in
I've
love
heard
with
of it,
his
yeah.
phone, and it's very similar to
Uh-huh.
like that menu thing. So you should give it a watch, because that's exactly what it reminded me of, the personal questions and thing like that. It's like, oh, you're bonding with this like menu screen, and yeah, really cool. Like it's just such a little touch that doesn't affect the game
Hey,
at
the
all,
little things are important.
but
in games.
it enhanced the experience. So
Okay, let me see what other notes do I have here.
yeah, I don't have anything else.
I don't have any other specific notes, it looks like.
Mhm.
So let's see, is there anything else I need to say about this game?
No,
I don't think so.
no.
I feel satisfied.
Mm-hmm.
Am I forgetting something?
No, I'm not.
The way you were like pulling out is like there's something big you're forgetting.
Huge end credits. Iron Man shows up. No, I think it's a game that I think we'll probably talk about when we do our year ends too, because when we replay it, like there's so much stuff that I still want to talk about that I still don't know, and I don't want to look up on YouTube or anything yet. There's a few things that I think I'll eventually look up, because it's like I think once I play through it a second time, I'm gonna put it on the bench for a little while, because the first playthrough or playing it again for a second time, the first time is a little tough with the beginning. It's like I don't want to play that right away again.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I thought it was a great game. I don't have too much of an overall, because I feel like I kind of at the beginning. So yeah, I'm just excited to keep playing it. It's a purchase that I've not disappointed myself. It's gonna keep me busy until E3 is happening. I'm gonna play it a bunch more this week, and then after that will be Spider-Man for me. So yeah, I quite enjoyed it. This is one that I'm not gonna throw official rating. I would just say for me right now it's 9 or higher for my enjoyment, just because I want to replay it more, because there's still some questions. It's kind of like watching half of a TV show and like giving it. So for me, it's in that 9 range, because I still really enjoyed it.
It is hard to really rate it, because the game that is so almost entirely based on its story, and since the story is gonna change depending on what you do, it's obviously hard to look at it like super objectively. But yeah, I honestly like I at the beginning, I said I wouldn't recommend it at full price, and I don't know. I think I probably should have precursed that by saying if you loved Heavy Rain, then I would definitely recommend it. Even at full price, I think you'd still get a lot of value out of this. But I don't regret my purchase anyway. Still had a lot of fun, and I liked going through the story. And there's still some more things I want to see with the story, certain interactions, and there's definitely a lot of care put in here. So yeah, overall fun experience, and another cool like unique game from Sony. I like that they're pumping out like some really different type of stuff for their console, because obviously this is it's similar to like there's a lot of Telltale games now, and it's similar to those.
This is much bigger scope.
Yeah,
like
obviously this is a AAA game.
Telltale to me, it's literally
Telltale.
indie. It feels like that's an independent movie, where this feels like Marvel, like Disney, like made like it's I don't know, Unbreakable matches Logan or something like that. Film nerds would get that. I was just looking because I was curious. Heavy Rain came out 2009. This was 2013. So this was 5 years. So what was that? Also 4 years, 5 years. So
2013, sorry.
2013 for Beyond Two Souls.
Yeah.
So
is that a very similar game as well?
Yes, it is. I've heard it I downloaded it
because I never even heard of it, and I'm surprised I didn't hear of it until recently.
I heard of it because I'm a huge Willem Dafoe fan, so that's why I downloaded it. It was free on PSN last month, so after I finish this, honestly, I'm gonna go finish Heavy Rain, then I'm gonna play this, because now I'm just on this kick of making decisions, and I just heard the game is like very methodical, like a lot slower at times, and so I know it did not get the praise that Heavy Rain did, but
clearly,
I was just looking to see that, because what I want to throw out was I'm interested to see what they do next, because I don't know what Beyond Two Souls was exactly about, but obviously Heavy Rain was like a serial killer drama. This was tackling like race and technology and the androids. I'm excited to see what they do next, because obviously we won't see this until PlayStation 5 whenever they do the next game, but I think it's a good refresher too, because especially, I don't want to make it too much like Geek vs. News, but you look at God of War, which I want to play because everyone says phenomenal things about, but like big action set piece game. September you have Spider-Man coming out. Very different game, Detroit, and that's where it's smart. Where I'm not sure how it's done sales. I think it might be too soon to know how it's done yet. We'll know probably. They might even know around E3 because Detroit was a success, blah blah. But it's a good. I don't want to say palate cleanser, but it feels like that. It feels like it's almost like when we see a bunch of blockbuster movies and something like a Logan or a Blade Runner comes out, where it's like, it's still blockbuster, but it's like much deeper and it has its meaning and it feels like it's different. Like. That's what this felt like for me, where I haven't played a game. I played Heavy Rain because to get ready for this, but really to start a game from beginning to end, this felt different for me, and obviously it is different. But that's why I guess for me, I don't regret the purchase because I enjoyed it, but it just feels completely different than any game I'm going to be playing for a while now. I played Telltale, but like you said, this to me feels different because it's just so much bigger, and it's just, and like I said, I have some problems with Telltale. Their engines, I
agree that this is a good palate cleanser for me, especially because. Never gotten around to the review, still working on it, but Shadow of Colossus, I played that when it came out, and big disappointment for me. So this was nice, restored some faith in the Sony way for me. And then even like me and Briggs played through A Way Out, which is a very similar game to this, and that it's very story driven and like making choices, but it's based around the co-op. And that game is like, I don't know, it's fun. I compare that story to like The Room in terms of its quality. Like it's not good quality, but sometimes it's so over the top and the acting's hilarious that like, and because you're doing it with a friend, that makes it really fun. But it has nothing on this game in terms of story and acting and stuff like that. So yeah.
Well, that's it. That's your Detroit spoilers.
Yeah, I mean, even I have no idea what kind of number out of 10 I would give this game. It's just way too ambiguous in that regard, but
I've kind of stopped. Took the Dylan approach for games because I feel like I don't play enough games, and it's a lot harder for me. With movies, I feel like I watch some of them, like I got a good idea. With video games, like I'm a very casual goer, So
there ain't nothing wrong with that sometimes.
Yeah, thank you very much for tuning this review. That went a lot longer than I expected. We talked a lot about this game, but I think it makes sense. It's a pretty. It's a short game.
Just because everyone's gonna have a different experience, So.
Yeah, it's a pretty layered game. So thank you very much for tuning in. You can do all, where all the plugs are. Go to all your podcast services, SoundCloud, Stitcher, iTunes. We're there. Subscribe on YouTube for our big beautiful faces. If you really like what we do, head over to Patreon. You can support us $1, $5, get content earlier. We got a new Marvel Retro coming out with Blade. We're doing that trilogy soon, so that's a good place. You get those early. Halloween Retro will be starting up, so
lots of stuff.
Yeah, lots of stuff. And E3, check us out for that.
E3 is the big one. Yeah, we'll talk about Sony's conference for sure. So.
Yeah, it's gonna be lots of fun. So thank you very much for tuning in, and we promise when we see you next time, it will not be boring.
Bye bye.